What a difference a day makes here. We were sitting here yesterday morning talking about $120 a barrel oil. We were talking about 30 plus on the VIX. Definitely a different story, different feeling here this morning. Oil just above 90 bucks a barrel currently. VIX on its way back higher, but $25 coming into play right now for the VIX. Again, trending back to the upside. You missed it yesterday. President Trump comes out late in the day, says, basically over. Nothing to worry about here. So everyone move on, or I guess back to your regularly scheduled market programming, apparently. The market like that, individual stocks loving that. That was the Nasdaq late in the day yesterday. Absolute rocket ship straight to the upside. A number of individual stocks really benefiting from this, mostly on the tech side of things. So many storylines, so many things to talk about today. One of those was Tesla, I saw late yesterday. What a move that was for Tesla. 392 up to 402. At the highs going into the close. We're gapping up. Disregard that candle. It's D prints coming through at 8 o'clock here this morning. We're gapping up here this morning at 404 coming into play for last week's resistance levels. But, I mean, we basically give all of that back again or regain all of that decline that we saw on the back of these headlines that came out over the weekend. So, I mean, it's back and forth, but who knows what today will bring, which is, I guess, good for us in a way.
Yeah, I caught the news conference. It was late, as per usual, of course, with President Trump. It was supposed to start at 5:30, started closer to 6. He had some other speech he was giving down in Florida. Look, I mean, he said exactly what some of the summaries that we heard said. You know, the war is basically over. He threatened, escalations if Iran continues to try to dominate the Strait of Hormuz. He said, the U.S. is going to take control of it to allow for safe passing of ships. So we'll have to see how that works. He also threatened to hit pretty much their electricity grid, and he said he didn't want to do it, but he was basically keeping that for an option. There's a whole lot to talk about other than that, guys. Nvidia coming out with their own kind of Claude bot or OpenClaw version, so a nice move up here. Oil also with some volatility. Brendo. Rivian, where's Randy when you need him? Up 5%, getting a nod today from some analysts. Qualcomm the other way, getting a downgrade. CrowdStrike up, and BNTX, don't look now, 16 and a third down here on some restructuring.
That's what I was saying. It's like back to your regularly scheduled market programming, it feels like. Anyways, yeah. I saw Randy's car was downstairs, but I haven't seen it this morning yet. Nice move for Rivian. I even got my hands on this. First thing you said to me when I walked in the door was, Nvidia has an OpenClaw. I haven't got my hands on this thing yet, but I'm excited to get testing Nemo Claw. Get ready for the memes, I think, to come
100%
around some goldfish-looking
one of my favorite movies,
logos.
by the way.
Yeah.
Animated movies, anyway.
Nemo Claw from NVIDIA and crew. Jensen has entered the chat with agentic agent-type platform from NVIDIA, so that should be exciting. Yeah, I mean, oil's trending higher right now, depending on what you're looking at. There's USO. Just tested the highs once again here in the pre-market, back to 107.70. But we're chopping around here a little bit after that absolute tanking late in the day yesterday on those headlines saying, yeah, I mean, this shouldn't take too much longer.
Yeah, well, hopefully that is the case, obviously. We'll have to wait and see whether he's actually able to execute on his plan to control the Strait of Hormuz. But you say Neo in the NVIDIA sense, Brendo, but there is the other Neo, or NIO, as we used to call it, and it's also up almost 7% here in the pre-market. It reported it's looking fantastic as well. Record deliveries, another thing to look at. There's no shortage of movers, whether up or down on the morning. And I think I hear Randy coming in. I can't wait to surprise him.
He's coming for his victory lap any moment now. I don't know. Does anyone follow this NIO thing around? There he is.
Randy
has entered the building on a 5% kind of a day for Randy.
See?
And Rivian.
5 and change right there, my guy.
Nice upgrade, Randy. He's happy. All right. He's just going to walk right through. There he goes.
Oh, boy.
And back again, too. It's a Randy kind of a day around here, guys. Hope he's back in. Good morning.
Everybody. I love we celebrate Rivian. Was $20 Jan 1st. It's $16 today, but it's a good move higher for Rivian. That is for sure. Obi, how you doing?
Not too bad. How are you?
Good. Oh, Randy brought the bananas. Okay. Okay. Yeah, what a great feeling we had from yesterday's close. I mean, that was such a great little run there in USO, and run to the downside, of course, a nice little profit run, which was really nice to see. If we can do something similar today. I mean, I have Nvidia. The sticky note's already out. I mean, we are on top of it here today. A bunch of notes out. I'm gonna put it in the chat if you guys were interested. Right here, we've got it all going on right here, right? USO, Nvidia, IBIT, and then NIO. We want to look at a little bit of Neo today, as well as that'll be the car company, not Rivian, that we'll look at today. Neo finally turning a profit, which is nice, from -1 cent to 4 cents upside right there. Their first ever profitable quarter, which is nice to see. It'd be nice to see an EV name be profitable here in the States. If Rivian would ever turn profits, I think the stock would be a moonshot. They're getting ready to hopefully buy a Rivian as well. But there it is, Neo, nice move up today. We'll see if we can trade some of that off of $5. We'll see if we get a little bit of a dip down right here today. Early on, not much on the imbalance locator. I was looking earlier, pretty dull right now. KOS, Occidental there. TSM, nothing going on right now. Less than 200,000 shares is the biggest one out there. And then, yeah, man, I got NVIDIA written down today as well. Here waiting for a little bit, maybe a dip, we'll see. I was actually woke up and saw that the market was nicely up. And yeah, since then, we've fallen quite nicely to the downside here. So what a rally it was yesterday. The Dow at the lowest point, Obi was, I think, down to about minus 900. Yeah. So it was not the greatest morning yesterday, but it turned out to be an absolutely fantastic day. Okay. So we've got on the old retro Trader TV Live hoodie today, and we're ready to rock and roll.
Looking good there. Yeah, Neo definitely on my watch today, blowing through expectations when it comes to their earnings. Other than that, nothing too crazy. I got, of course, USO. Sean just talked about the great trade that was through that 110, even off of that news, increased volume. Funny enough, I was kind of reviewing this trade with one of the traders in the back, and we were like, the initial news trade that happened here was at about 10 a.m. And that pop into 124 is a bit of a failure to follow through. Like, this was definitely worth a reversion, and this was pretty much a continuation of that reversion. So we talked about like what's the most ideal way to take this trade on the day, even though you don't know that this kind of news is coming out later on. Like, the thing is, this was a great push and a beautiful reversion to keep a core on, and we talked about how the low-a-day breakdown never looked back either. So if you're keeping a core from here, looking for it to close lower than any of these average prices, maybe sure you're churning some out, but the adds onto this being a trade in itself, I think keeping that core initially and then really churning some out and then really slamming it down into and through that 110 for that end of day move was probably, we talked about the most ideal way to trade it. Sure, this is probably highest EV right here where, 110, we talked about the level of confidence that some of us had for the low-a-day break there. But we'll see if USO gives us any sort of opportunity like that. Again, it's a very news-driven environment as of right now, and the reversions are great. The market's actually reverting right now with the little bit of a bid that did happen. So we were talking about how VIX is in and around that $20 level. Neo definitely on watch. We were talking about, just looking at this metric here, a 915% surprise on their earnings. So we'll see if this one has any sort of continuation here. Only done about 7 million shares in the pre-market, so not too bad there. And then BNTX with their earnings gapping down a little bit. So this is coming into some interesting levels for me. If I just go to the 1 month chart, we can see where we're coming into some potentially multi-year lows coming in at 76s, but the low of this consolidation that we've been holding for a couple of years here on BNTX. So those are kind of my top names, top watches on the day. I'm kind of watching Teladoc as well, TDoc with a little bit of a gap up this morning as well, but nothing crazy. Definitely not the top of my list, but we'll see. Let me know in the chat what you guys are watching, and I'm definitely going to be sitting on my hands, waiting for the right opportunities, because it seems like this is the market to really hone that in and snipe when the opportunities show up.
Yeah, good. Lots of opportunities today, I feel like, as well. But we got to be patient, waiting for those levels to develop, right? We had a great runner yesterday in Palantir. I see some of these names are starting to come back in a little bit right now this AM. I mean, down 1.5% right now for Palantir. Nice move. Obviously, we saw that huge move. And we were short. Yesterday was so funny because we were short. Well, we did a bunch of things in Palantir yesterday, but we were short right into this area, brought it all the way down, then heard that oil news, punched out immediately on Palantir, and then went short on USO. And so that trade right now looked like it was a good way to get out. We should have maybe gone long on PLTR. Downside there today, only down right now 1.5%, which is still a lot, actually. Apple as well. I mean, everything sort of took off a little bit yesterday during that run at 3 p.m., right? So Apple got up to 261. That's going to be down today. A name that I really like in the tech space, I mean, we like all of them, but Google as well. Like, that broke out $300, and it was just an absolute monster there, up to 306, 307 at the close, and pulling back just a little bit right now. But the Nasdaq trying to find its way, right? I mean, silver was up earlier. Let me just make sure that it still is right now. Yeah, so still up 2%. Looks like that's trying to come back a bit. So I think if we're going to go long today, I actually wrote down, I really like Bitcoin. Bitcoin yesterday up 4%, and that was a nice move. We don't see that too often for IBIT these days. And so there's the little shoot up there. Not a huge move on the oil, but, you know, continuation today, over 70,000. I said, let's try to go long if we can hold this in and around 39.50, kind of like yesterday's closing in top areas. If we can hold Bitcoin, I like that. And then gold's up as well. Oil, CLJ, let's have a quick check. That got overnight, you know, close to 119. You know, and closes around $80. And you can see what oil is doing right now. There is a dramatic move down that we had experienced. I don't know. Well, it's saying minus 4.5%, but remember, this is a continuous. This is not today. It's actually starting to tick higher here. We got as low as $81. Wow, that was at 90. Remember, we got a 99. We got 99.15. The low yesterday was 99.12 on USO. So we basically have this exact low on oil, and right now it's actually quite a nice move up, man. You're up about 12% from the lows right now, 81 to 91 right there. A nice little move higher in crude, although we are showing minus 4%. That is not what it is. You can see it's a nice little move higher right there for crude oil. So we'll have to wait to see where it's going today, but it should be a good trade. Lots of different things. If you're a tech guy, we have that Neo Claw. That's on there for my trade on Nvidia. If there's earnings, we've got Kohl's, which should be good. We've got Neo, which we like. We got the upgraded Rivian, silver, as we already mentioned, gold, oil, the commodities, IBIT. And then you said that, no, it wasn't the trade desk. You said Teledoc was something.
Teledoc might be something
that you had looked on as well. So
I didn't even see Kohl's. That's a good one.
Yeah, Kohl's was a good report. No, bad report, down 7%, right?
Yeah, but it's recovered pretty much the whole move there.
Yeah. Okay. We'll look at Kohl's as well, but let's go back over to the desk now. It's 8:13. Sticky notes now out. I'll put the chat in. I'll put it in the chat. Also, we have ideas. Go over to my Trader TV Live and put your trade ideas in there. We'll talk about those when we get back as well. But oil right here, guys, $91.
Yeah, and trending higher, as you were mentioning, Sean. Back to the upside. Just be aware, Defense Secretary Hegseth was speaking. So there was some comments moving not only oil, but the market itself around a little bit. Overall, some of these producers just hanging out. I was just going through CVX, XOM. They're all kind of looking the same at this point. On the Nvidia side of things, we've given back that early gap to the upside. So this product is going to be available at as of their GTC event coming up in a couple of weeks. I think it was the 16th or something like that. The NVIDIA GTC event. So that's going to be the official launch for Nemo Claw.
Yeah.
Get ready for your goldfish.
I'm just excited for Jensen to get on stage with his customary leather jacket.
Maybe you'll have a robot goldfish follow him out.
Remember he had that robot?
Yeah.
I think that was like 23 or 24. It's a few years ago, right? And then, he'll present us with the new, whatever he's going to call it this year, the new GPU. It was GB300 last year. We're going to have to see the new one kind of, remember he brings it out of the oven. He does that whole thing. But yeah.
There was one he was in his kitchen. And
what a guy. So this this Nemo club, Brendo, that I alerted you to immediately because I knew you'd be down. It's gonna enable organizations, as you mentioned. It's more for enterprise than it is for individuals. It's gonna enable organizations to dispatch AI agents that can plan, that can reason, perform multi-step tasks, reflecting a broader industry shift, of course. And they've begun pitching the platform to enterprise software companies. Obviously, that B2B SaaS has a lot more margins and it's a lot more profitable than the B2C, which is, of course, a little bit less. They are exploring partnerships as well with Salesforce, Cisco, Google, Adobe, CrowdStrike, all with this Nemo claw in mind. So something definitely keep an eye on as we go into GTC.
Yeah, and that's the key, the security side of things. One of the challenges, or the main challenge that any of these platforms have had so far, I was talking with the tech guys here, and it's the security side of it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you give it access to files, if you give it access, I was talking to you earlier about Cowork, Claude Cowork, and I'll use that as an example. It essentially lives in a folder, so it lives in its own sandbox, and you give it access to a folder, and anything it does just lives in that folder. But once you get outside of that folder and start giving it access to information in general, that's a lot of trust that you're essentially hoping that nothing bad happens and it doesn't start, sending out critical information or anything like that. So if they can come up with a way to incorporate that into day-to-day operations of a larger business, but have the security level as well, that's going to be monstrous.
And that's something the industry is very alive to. You and I were talking about the creator of OpenClaw, ClaudeBot, whatever it was called. He went on Lex Friedman's podcast, and Lex asked him specifically, he's like, it's kind of hard to set up.
Yeah.
Why don't you make this a bit more user-friendly so you can have broader adoption? And his answer was pretty simple. Yes, you're right, but my focus now is the security aspect. So everybody's alive to it. Everybody wants to use it, but the drawbacks are just too pronounced for the moment.
And I think that was a very, very, very early edition of what these will end up being. That did have a UI. It still does have a UI. But the majority of the inputs, or the efficiency of how to communicate with that was better on terminal or through a prompting kind of situation instead of the UI itself. But I'm sure, OpenAI is going to have their own version of this with this guy, any day now, I imagine. But the other end of this scale, CRWD, one of the groups that, got caught up in the original SaaS destruction. Back to the upside here. That's 2 weeks worth of data on that chart right there, and that's a pretty good looking trend now, back higher. But Crowd here with its own headline today. Yeah,
they got the nod today from Morgan Stanley, upgrading them to overweight from equal weight, so a good upgrade there. And a nice price target boost. They had it at 487. They bumped it up to 510. They're like, this is one of the best positioned cybersecurity platforms to outperform in the coming years. Anecdotally, of course, I was speaking on the Midday show with Joseph about this. There are rumors that PanW's margins are getting squeezed, specifically for one reason and one reason only. They're having to give discounts to some of their clients from leaving, from going to Zscaler, from going to CrowdStrike. So clearly something's afoot here, and I feel that there may be a competition for who leads this group. Currently, if you look at the market cap, it's still PanW, but CrowdStrike's right on their heels, probably going to overtake them.
And being software, the security aspect of all of this that we were just talking to is still going to be critical and definitely required. And if there's a way that they can integrate some of these new agentic platforms into, some of these software options, that's only going to be opportunity for companies like CrowdStrike and PanW. Cybersecurity, guys, looking pretty good.
And I really like the space. I think we've talked about cybersecurity a couple times here as well, and I never really understood that whole ClawBot or any of these things were coming for, or that Centrini report they're coming for these software names, because I can clearly see why it would affect a CRM, a Salesforce, but some of these things like the CrowdStrike, Palo Alto, cybersecurity names. How in the world would you trust just something that was created moments ago by an AI to sort of protect your business, right? And the integrity of your data and your software and all your information. So I really like all those plays. I've been into CrowdStrike. I know Neil bought some CrowdStrike. I bought some Palo Alto. And I mean, really, I almost think like we could check the IGV, but this is a bunch of days now. This is what, 7 or so straight up days there in CrowdStrike. So I feel like there was sort of the threat come back in. The only problem, the only issue about buying some of these things a little lower is the fact that you still, you were under the 200 period moving average. So I know there's like a lot of traders that won't really buy things underneath, but it came right into that 350 level, which looked to be, I mean, obviously, if you're looking a little lower, there was 300 to 320 as a potential spot. But I always think that, when things are happening like this, and, even Nvidia right now at that 170 level, obviously we're way back up from that now. Same thing true of Palo Alto. And that's why we said you could always go over with Cyber or Bug ETF or something like that, because it'll just give you a little bit different exposure to all of the names. So you're not just picking one as an individual, but it's the same kind of a chart here as well for Palo Alto. And the only thing is like, they've been pretty beat up. Oh yeah, that's right, we had the split. They've been pretty beat up from top to bottom. Like this was 225 just back in November, went all the way down to 140. So it was definitely a hard sort of pill to swallow on the downside. And it's not like it wasn't figured out. Like these reports, and the IGV was really getting hit during these times. This was already starting to pull back a little bit here. So I am wondering, Sharif might have had probably has a great point there about security just becoming maybe less monopolistic. There's many different opportunities now to go from a Zscaler to a CrowdStrike to a Palo Alto, and I don't know what it's like. Obviously, I don't run the IT around here, but I don't know what it's like to switch from one to the other. Maybe it's easier than we think. It's not like once you put all these NVIDIA chips in and you're on using their platform and their software, then to switch over, to go to the AMD. That's apparently supposed to be quite the journey to do that. But I'm wondering if maybe it's a little easier for cybersecurity. Maybe you guys in the chat would know something about that. But yeah, it seems like they're getting more reasonable valuations at these levels, and traders are coming in and buying the dips here on the cyber names. And I like that trade for a long-term hold.
Yeah, no, I really like that NVIDIA's taken this step because, again, it might take away monopoly from other companies, but it's giving more monopoly to NVIDIA because not only do they have infrastructure, but they're moving into the software aspect of the game as well. So they, again, more trust from your clients. I was just reading up on it. They're already potentially starting pitches towards companies like Google and Microsoft and other I guess Mag 7 friends as well. But I do like the idea. I'm very excited to kind of try their agentic AI here. Interesting name, Nemo Claw. But we'll see if if Nvidia continues to just keep swimming in this range on that news or actually breaks out. But I'll definitely be watching this one post earnings, right? So post earnings, we came down to these lows. Maybe this is the news. We have that event coming up very soon. I think it's this week or next week, NVIDIA's event, and I'm sure that this news is very timely. Right before that event, we're going to be hearing a lot more about some of those developments. But no, I'm definitely excited. We'll see if that actually brings in. Hopefully, they are successful in their endeavors. Because right now, everyone's using, OpenClaw and a few other different types of agentic AI. And yeah, those security concerns are definitely something. It's funny. I've seen some of these posts. Now, I'm sure it's not happening as much anymore. But people have given access, to their whole life to OpenClaw, and this thing's buying things on their behalf, running up the cards. It's a little, it's an interesting world we live in right now. But let's see what's going on in the options world with Joe.
Absolutely. All right, guys, let's get right into things here. We're going to kick things off with some charting, and we're going to go over some of the implied volatility increases, and we're going to take a look at the chain here on NVDA. We're going to start it off with just the decay once again, and we typically look at this. So, I mean, from December of last year, you have a value of a contract that's worth roughly around $1,300, now getting decayed to 95% of that, worth $58 approximately. So what I'm essentially getting at here is leading into the earnings report, the chances of us getting a squeeze into a higher level are relatively low. And what am I also going to point out here is that using our delta metric, this little middle number right here is a teller of worlds, essentially. what we can use is this as a percentage gauge in which this contract is going to expire out of the money. So for example, you can see it makes quite a bit of sense once you kind of put all the pieces together. So we have these at the money contracts. We're going to use 182.5 and 180 as an example. All right, so there's a 50% chance and a 60% chance that these contracts by March 20th are going to expire in the money. Okay, if we were to go further down our strike price, you can see we're trading around that strike price at 167.5. You can see that that metric drastically increases to 82. All right. Now, as for our delta, that's for every 1 point change in the underlying, the value of the contract is going to change. But you can also put that together in the fact is like, okay, we have an 82% chance that this contract is going to expire in the money. Now, the way that I like to look at things is, what is the percentage and what is the probability of something expiring out of the money? Okay. And that's what leads me to the witching event here on March 20th. Okay. That there's a 90% chance that this 200 contract is going to expire out of the money. Now, why is that? Because we also identified a massive supply zone on NVDA yesterday with over or close to 250,000 open contracts. Now, if you want to see where the larger participants are laying, then you can definitely look at the options chain and gauge that using your open interest metric as well, too. All right, moving forward, we're going to take a look at USO. Not much here. We're just going to go over the increased implied volatility, also the dramatic increase in some of the put action here. So 181%, the volatility is in, and with increase in volatility comes an increase in options premium. You guessed it. All right, so moving forward, guys, we're going to take a look at this $115 strike price contract on the put side, and we're going to see the increase in this name here, guys. So over to our 4-hour chart, and once again, it's not that easy, but if you happen to be in the realm of, hey, Donald Trump, the war is ending, it's essentially over, we're going to make sure that we're transporting oil safely through the strait, then sure enough, maybe you would be looking at some of this put volume. As the market rallied, you get that inverse correlation with the oil. And sure enough, you have a value of around $4 here earlier in the day to a value of approximately 16. Now, we talk about the decay in the contracts, but this also comes with the power of options. You have to be a little bit early. You have to front run it. Maybe even getting in around the times where Katina Man and Obi were getting in on the trade. As soon as that news event hits, you're on your options chain, you're ready to rock and roll, and you take advantage of it. If you catch a 5-point move or 11-point move, you're still going to see a substantial return here in your put contract, okay? So 244% from the time of the announcement, and that, my friends, is the power of options.
Thank you very much. Yeah, no, those Nvidia 200s do look very interesting there, Joe. That's kind of that reference area of where, through earnings we kind of ping that area. But we've been experiencing, like I said before, this range on Nvidia for the past few months, if not even longer, where those 190s really some struggle trying to get through those 90s. Sure, you have a catalyst, which was earnings, which you ran up into the close that day, and then I watched this happen all the way to 200, but another slam right there. So recent, I guess, resistance in this name. We'll just go up to an hourly and see how far back this really goes. We had this moment right here for about 9 to 10 days where we were able to get above 200, but no sustainability above that price. So that 200 definitely, it makes a lot of sense. 90% chance that it's going to expire, out of the money there. So makes a lot of sense. But we'll see if there's anything that changes coming into next week. That event is just looked it up. That GTC event for Nvidia is March 16th to 19th.
Okay, so
just a few more days until some of that,
Yeah, good. So thanks, Joe, for all of that, of course. And yeah, look, I mean, I really like Nvidia today. We sort of got that. It's on the note here. If we can get down to that 180 to 181 area, I like that, and we'll see if it can wind up holding as well. I wanted to show you guys something actually pretty fun here. All right, so I put up on Twitter right now. It's 8:30, so we have a couple minutes to spill here. What a wild end to trading day yesterday with oil on the move. I just want to say here, and I asked you guys what trades you guys looking at today. Diane says good morning. I say good morning to you, Diane. Here we go. And the funny one of the morning here, Used Gum says he lives in a van down by the river and he eats crayons, but the guy next to him has a sweet van. He said to buy HIMS, BW, SLS, ONDS, and AMPX. But then again, that guy eats crayons also. And I was gonna say, I really love Chris Farley, so shout out to the van down by the river. Adinet says, Joby is interesting. Dane Generous. What's up, Dane? This guy's in the chat all the time. We see him all there. He likes silver at 80 and Tesla at $4 bills. Oh, looking for the shorts over there. Aaron is on the chip names as well. Chris is here saying short Softy. Okay, we can have a look at Microsoft, man. We used to call that name Mr. Softy when I was trading that in the 200s, now $500. Hopefully back to 500 soon. Glenn in here. What's up, Glenn? He likes HIMS. I don't know if you're looking at HIMS. That was one of your only trades yesterday, I think. You traded one name, I think, in the first show there, which was great, HIMS. So I'll have to look at that. Oklo yesterday looking for a dip buy. And then again, V Sharpen is looking at AMD. So let me know what you guys are looking at. It seems like there's a lot of talk there about AMD, Nvidia, HIMS, and eating crayons in a van down by the river. So lots of fun stuff happening on X. But the market's losing right now. And as Dane just mentioned there, we saw Rivian upside. We saw NIO upside. We did have Tesla upside. So it's kind of funny, Dane, that you mentioned looking for shorts around 400. We just took 400 right now on Tesla. And it's actually, this first hour is looking very similar to the last hour here on Tesla, where we got faded just a little bit. Obviously, every stock took that move higher, but then Tesla made a way back down, and now it's making a way back down here. What about this break right here, 397 on Tesla, underneath VWAP, underneath the 200? That's looking like a healthy move as well to the downside. So good look on that. Is Rivian coming back? Rivian just got a sort of a BS upgrade, but we'll talk about that after. Up 5% and actually holding, so that's pretty good. And then the earnings play that I'm more excited about with actual reasons to be going upside would be NIO. We'll see if that comes back in as well. Yeah, Hegseth is talking. It was... also the Pentagon here, I just saw looking to secure rare earth metals. Ooh. So maybe an MP maybe in play. Doesn't look like it's moving too much right now, no. Lithium of America could be in play today as well, if this is what we're talking about. This actually, Lithium of America is an interesting name because I feel like it has an opportunity here. Like, how good does this look, Obi? Like, these is a rare earth. Like, you know, good little bid there with the 200 period moving average. Looks good to break lower. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. But just as a bid, like, you know, we've been holding this level since November on LAC right here. So you want to talk about something that's, if anything, it's upside looking. I mean, it could break lower, then you get underneath the 200 and it's a problem. The next thing you're talking about is $3. But right now, LAC, maybe you have to do a little bit of research on that one. Looks pretty good there for potential long dip buy opportunity if we can get somewhere near $4 on Lithium of America, trading today at 450. So, all right, that's good, man. It's 8:33 already. Thanks, Joe, for all those options. We'll get upgrades and downgrades later. But yeah, 8:33 right here. About an hour until this market opens. Oil moving, Nasdaq downside right now. ES downside. Before we throw it back, let me just double check what oil is doing exactly before I just start saying that, because I don't want people. Yeah, so still nice little move higher right now in oil. So you can see trying to hold the base here. Nice little bid supporting. $89 VWAP, $89 is a 200 period moving average. This is actually looking like a decent opportunity here to get going just a little bit. And I wrote down USO in and around 111 as a short. So we're getting closer and closer to that now as we speak. There we go. This is more like it. USO now up 4%. So that's the levels that we're looking at. And I'm looking at 111 here, but we'll go over that once we get to, there's 111. Right when we get to the rundown, I'm sure we'll be talking more oil. All right, man, 8:34. Let's go back to the two dudes behind us.
Don't believe it. All right, are you buying this IPO? What do you think? Bill Ackman is taking Pershing Square public. It's going to be on the NYSE. PSUS in the is going to be the ticker symbol. So you're going to receive 20 shares in Pershing Square, and then there's a close-end fund that's going to be $50 each per the filing. So PSUS going to raise between $5 billion and $10 billion. which includes $2.8 billion, which has already been secured by family offices and insurance companies and high net worth individuals. But I wanted to show this. It's kind of hard to see, but this is, so blue line is his fund's performance, essentially. Gray line down here is the S&P 500. I mean, that's going back a long time. But I mean, even if you just look at, like, that's 2022. That last gray bar is 2022. He's done okay.
He's done quite well. He has a lot of concentration risk. That's how he has these outperforming moves. Like, he's got a lot of concentration risk. Brookfield, Uber, Amazon, by the end of 2025, very, very limited amount of names. And as you mentioned, a couple of different, there's going to be a couple of different listings. There's going to be PS, that's going to be the Pershing Square Capital Management. And then there's going to be PSUS, which, as you said, is going to be the closed-ended fund called Pershing Square USA. Both are going to be on the NYSE. And he's looking to raise about $5 to $10 billion through that PSUS offering. It's going to be about $50 each. Obviously, we'll have to wait, see what it comes out at. They've already secured $2.8 billion in commitments from early investors, as well as family offices, pension funds, insurance companies, ultra high net worth individuals. So it seems like he's got a wide moat here when it comes to investors. And he wants this Buffett-inspired long-term investment model. Like, I mean, the old man's out now, and there's a bit of a gap there. I don't know if Greg Abel fills it quickly. So, you know, there's going to be a lot of positioning to be the next Buffett.
He's wanted to do this and talked about this for many years. I mean, I remember probably 2 or 3 other times that he's kind of kicked the tires on this idea. A couple other numbers to be aware of: 30.7 billion in AUM. Last year, he earned 250 million on revenue of 762.5 million. Ackman said investors who put money into the first core fund at inception in 2004 made 27 times their money.
That's fantastic.
Since 2004.
That's definitely outsized. That's huge.
Way better than the S&P 500. So PSUS and PS coming to the NYSE. Guys, you buying?
Not even close, man. I'm not going to be this guy's exit liquidity. There's no way. I mean, I don't even know how could you be holding Amazon and Uber and having a chart like that? Like, that doesn't even, I mean, I look at Uber and Amazon, and obviously this guy's making money. I mean, a lot of the money's been made probably in private markets, but for me, no, I'm not super interested in that, man. I'd rather just, you know, buy a bank or something and see what's going on there. So for me, it's going to be a hard pass. I was actually just thinking about the last IPO, and you were mentioning we have PayPay coming up soon, and your screen has it right there.
So I have the IPO calendar up.
$4 billion coming. But what was that? There was one IPO last time that was exactly the same way. It was oversubscribed. It was the last one Neil and I took. I can't remember what it was now. Obi was asking me about it. It was oversubscribed. It came out at a higher price. It was in the robotics space. I can't. We traded it live on air, and it was a bad one. Oh yeah, I can go through the list probably and find it.
So it's close to $1 billion. I'm not really seeing too much last month.
How can I see that? It might have even been in January. Okay. No, it wasn't Life. It was After Life for sure. Go down. And after EQPT, keep going down.
There's nothing close to $1 billion.
I'll have to look. I can get it. I can get it from my. I can get it from my trade list. Maybe it was just under $1 billion, but see, that's the thing. So if you do look. To answer the question, okay, so are we going to take the trade? There has to be certain things set up for it. I'm not super interested in it. I don't really want like another financial or anything like that. If I do, that's where I'm going to go with the SoFis of the world and the JP Morgans and maybe even an XLF. But as far as an IPO is concerned, we just have to see what the roadshow looks like, how hyped up is it, what retail looks like. Do we think it's going to get that first initial day pop, right? And if the answer is yes, then I think you want to go for it, right? If we turn on CNBC and all they're doing is talking about it, obviously Bill Ackman's going to be, you know, pumping his own tires for all of this. But just so much, you know, like with what Chamath has done and all this kind of stuff. Like, imagine Chamath came out with something like that. I mean, come on. So you know, you got to think about like just the rug pulls that have happened in the space. So that leads me to be a little more, you know, iffy about taking that one. But doesn't mean we won't take it on the IPO print. I mean, look, whether or not you take, everyone trades differently. Whether or not, you know, these guys taking 100 shares, taking 5,000 shares, whatever it is, 10 shares, the opportunity is there. And I think IPOs have been a great opportunity for us to trade, but it's also an awesome opportunity to lose a lot of money because if you buy that opening print and it only goes down, which has happened the last couple IPOs, then you're in for a little bit of a problem. And the market's not overly healthy, I don't feel like right now anyways, to get more injection of liquidity. If you're gonna put money into the market, we see so many people right now buying ETFs, not buying individual stocks. There was something about, I saw, maybe it was on Bespoke, but it was a chart about how right now, a lot of the ETFs that are being traded, obviously silver, USO, some of those ETFs are being heavily traded, but the other ones are just being bought and held right now because there's just so much uncertainty in the market and people are flocking to the Qs or the IVV or SPY or different names like that. But you have any interest in that IPO?
Yeah, I definitely do. And I think you make some really great points there. I think you got to see how well it's kind of marketed. Definitely, he's gonna be showing up on different streams and different sources, kind of marketing it, really convincing people. But another thing that you mentioned, I think market environment really matters. You can see that some of the really good IPOs from last year, the market environment was slightly different than the recent few months. We were pushing all-time highs. There was AI hype. There was oversubscription. There was crypto was moving as well at the same time. So a lot of those IPOs in that market environment did really well off of the open. I think that's something we'll have to consider whenever this IPO comes out. But no, I am definitely looking forward to it. Again, the stars have to align. Right? If we're pushing back towards highs and maybe financials are strong, then maybe I'll definitely have an interest in it. But we'll see. I think off the open, the price action will always be king for me. And then I don't really like necessarily taking that opening print, but we'll see if there is continuation off of the open and if people are willing to defend some of the opening prices.
The good trading, actually, to your point, has been waiting for a top and then letting that expire and then hit that back end of that trade. And the only thing is, get ready. That's on the 12th is PayPay.
Yes.
And that's going to come as PAYP on the Nasdaq. So we'll be talking about that in just 2 days. And generally speaking, they don't come out until about 12:30, 1 o'clock. Yeah. So we'll be hitting that on the midday show probably. PAYP. So you can probably see Joe and Sharif trade that, and then they'll come back to OBNI, and we'll be talking about it in the afternoon. I would love for it to come out early. That would be pretty sweet. We'll be able to look at that here live on this show. But let's go over to Joe right now for some upgrades and downgrades.
All right, guys, let's take a look at some of the analyst actions here this morning. We're going to kick things off with Qualcomm, down almost 3% in the morning, but getting the downgrade from a neutral weight to underperform by B of A with a price target of $145. Air Canada puts a smile on my face once in a blue moon to see this thing here. We're going from a outperform to a sector perform with the price target being lowered from $27 to $21. And then we also have Nokia, guys. That's also by Scotiabank. Nokia is slightly positive here this morning, going from a buy to a hold. So getting the downgrade with a $6.50 price target. Novo Nordisk, surprisingly so, getting the downgrade once again, going from a buy to a hold, down 1 1/4 here, guys, with the price target also being lowered from $45 to $42 by TD Cowen. Moving forward, we're going to take a look at Teladoc Health. I heard Obi talking about this one this morning. Getting the upgrade here, up 8.6%, getting that going from a hold to a buy with the price target increase to $11 by Deutsche Bank. And then we also have Rivian up 5% this morning. TD Cowen giving them the nod, $17 to $20. You're also up 5%, as I mentioned. HIMS breaking out later in the day yesterday. A lot of consolidation, no follow through right out of the gate with this one, but it started to form that price compression, that wedge, and then sure enough, when that news broke that Donald Trump was saying the war was over, we're going to get oil through, HIMS also followed the overall market. B of A giving them the nod. You're up 3.8% there this morning, $23 a price. This is a substantial increase in my opinion. It's almost a double, so $12.50 to $23. That is a big time price increase. Now CrowdStrike also, guys, Morgan Stanley giving CrowdStrike the nod. You're up 1.8%. Price target increase from $487 from $510, but the upgrade is equal weight to an overweight rating here on CRWD.
At the gate?
Very much. Yeah, I know Qualcomm was on my watch this morning.
Okay.
It came up on one of my scans. I was like, what's happening here? I think they had a little bit of a catalyst as well. Something along the lines of whatever this was, collaborates with Qualcomm to simplify edge AI development. whatever. So strong selling, pretty much giving back everything, almost everything from yesterday, and plus now we're hearing from Joe that also got a bit of a downgrade. So we'll see where this one ends up. Bit of a sell over the past couple of weeks as well. You can see lower lows and lower highs as well. We attempt to break past some of this prior week levels. Can't really make it, and then slamming right back down. So I'm seeing this low right here at 132 on Qualcomm. That's that wick low right there. If you want to look at intraday prices, 132 halves, 48s being the low from prior days. So we'll see if it can get down there. Again, not necessarily the top idea on the list, but I do like that. And then, yeah, of course, we were talking about HIMS getting that upgrade right after day one. So I like this. Even yesterday I mentioned, yeah, a little bit of a sideways chop holding that flag. We broke out of that flag and closed in and around that level, but gapping up today. So maybe today is the day where HIMS has that leg consolidation leg, and I'm looking for that secondary leg today, and still have those levels marked out from yesterday. So I think just to add on, we had this little bit right here at the end of the day, and we're holding in and around there. But I do want to just throw on that, I guess I think I remember deleting that anchored VWAP. That's in and around here. We did respect it for majority of the day, broke out of there, and then now we're holding within the upper quartile of prior days price action right here, but not necessarily in the pre-market. We do have this 24.62, 24 halves area to get through on HIMS as well, but maybe today's the day. So I am definitely watching it for a day two play, and I guess it helps that it got an upgrade at the same time.
Yeah, no, HIMS, and thanks, Joe, and Qualcomm actually looking like a good one. We don't talk about that name enough. A name that we probably talk about way too much is Rivian. And right into here, I think this is exciting once we break here. You got to break through this little whoosh area here of 18 bucks. If we can get through 18, then yeah, we probably do retest. I don't know exactly, I have to read what that upgrade's all about. But I mean, no matter what we think about this, if we zoom back out a lot, this 200 period moving average, since basically, if we just go all the way back to July, the summertime, right, you didn't spend too many days underneath this 200 period moving average. It did have a problem, it's been a rough it's been a good sort of 8 months, but a rough sort of back 8 months since then. But if you just go back to we had some moves back to 18 bucks. Every time we've come back into this $12, $13 range and been bought back up, right? It happened again right now. So to me, you're going lower, like there's a low, then you're getting a little higher on your low, you're getting a little higher, you're getting a little higher, you're getting a little higher, you're getting a little higher. So this to me looks like we're actually trending in the right direction now finally for Rivian. So, these moves won't ever be gone. I mean, they'll always be. We've seen in Tesla and some of these names. I mean, look at Ford. Ford was just $14.50. Now it's back down to 12 bucks again already. This name got to 23, back down to 14 from $23. Like, it's just so funny when you look at statistics of, Rivian's up 5% this year, or Rivian's down 10%, or up 20%, or whatever. But like this move alone right here, 22 down to 14, like it's all about timing. Like if you bought something in here at 20, obviously when it goes down to 14, you're like, oh wow, I'm down 30% now. But then if you've waited and bought off of the 200 period moving average, now you're up 10% all of a sudden. So it's like, you got to be very, very specific in what you're doing, and which is why, we looked at that Pershing square and things like that. A lot of it is time in the market, but timing the market also, especially when you're talking about individual stocks, means a whole heck of a lot. You want to get stocks, like look at that CrowdStrike. 2 weeks ago, you could have got it at 340. Now it's at 440. So the same investor that bought that thing 3 weeks ago at 450 is now flat. The other guy's up 30%. So it's like sometimes you want to just make sure you have the right stocks, averaging at the right prices, and having enough sort of capital on the sideline to be able to do that. And I think that in order to do that, you also need to make sure that you're averaging out at the right times as well. Because we could all have these huge winners. Even Sharif and I, we were looking at Palo Alto when it was like at 220. It's like, this is great. But then all of a sudden it drops to 140. So it's like, you got to be able to have opportunities to go in there, make decisions sometimes when stocks are at sell levels, and get ready for a potential pullback really in any name. I mean, Google was rocking. It went back down into 290. Back up to 310. So there's going to be always ebbs and flows of the market. You just want to make sure that you're catching them, especially if you are a swing trader. Buy low, sell high. I know that sounds like a crazy thing to do. But sometimes you get those moves and you want to reward yourself, right? Don't just sit on your hands all of the time. Day trading like what Obi and I do here for you, and you're going to see in about 40 minutes, is very much different than, you know, trying to hold something. Just like you said, remember when I messaged you about 2 weeks ago and I said something about how your account was rocking, and you said it's a completely different thing to day trade than to swing trade, and to hold it for over a year, and all that kind of stuff, right? So you don't always need to be picking the Nvidias of the world, like a stock like that, BW, and then circle until they reported. Like some of these calls are great calls because technically they're there. You might not even know what these stocks do, but the breakouts are there, the momentum's there, and you're able to make money. You know, at the end of the day, a dollar bill is a dollar bill. Whether you pull it from Nvidia or you pull it from ARC-Q, it doesn't really matter. So
yeah, no, I think a lot of the good stuff is, you got to remember, there's more than 5,000 publicly traded names there, and you definitely have to kind of have a good look at them. And yeah, it's not always going to be the shiny stuff that everyone's looking at. A lot of the times I find that for especially for some of my swing trades, it's like there's things happening that not a lot of people know about, and that's kind of how I like it, because eventually how I like it is, like, I want to get involved when not a lot of people kind of know about it, and it starts to do something. Then you have that marketing aspect. Then you have that volume injection where it's like, okay, now there's somebody that, like, you know, I've found my exit liquidity. People actually know about it now. Guess who's selling to them, right? So it's just that's kind of how I like to think about.
There's always a smarter trader around, or there's always somebody that has a different idea than you. But as long as you stick with your plans,
yeah, exactly.
You know, I think
that's trade your own trade. Yeah,
that's very, very important. Man, I like the sweater there today, Obi. That's very, very nice. I love that. All right, let's go back, man. It's 8:51, 8:52. Getting ready to rock, man. I think oil is going to be a great trade today. You know, silver and gold should be good as well. I really like Bitcoin holding above 70,000. I think that's going to be great. Nvidia with Nemo Club. Brendan's all ready to go on that one. We're excited to have that kicking as well. We've got Joe over here looking sharp and handsome as ever. And then we've got Sharif, you know, wondering what's going on with Arsenal, I guess, in the back over there. So we'll go back over to the big desk right now. 9 minutes, then we got our rundown.
Retail, a little bit, anyways, in focus once again as well. Had a bit of a flush early on this morning on KSS downside. We get down to 1350. This thing has taken all that back and is about to potentially, anyways, get back to positive, which would be around 1480 on the morning. Not a great report, but my assumption is something on the call was a little bit better than expected.
Yeah, possibly a good guide, but when you read through the report, at least initially, some tougher numbers here. Comparable sales, guys, one of the industry standards in terms of metrics for retail, down 2.8% year over year. Also, for full year 2025, net sales declined, not small, 4%. Down to 14.8 billion. Compare that with a sales decline of 3.1% last year. Despite the declining sales, though, their Q4 operating income did come in better than expected, 212 million. Compare that with 126 million dollars a year ago. They're also really pushing cost control, Brendo. They're saying their expenses declined a little bit less than 5%, down to 1.5 billion, which could be interpreted quite well. Inventory levels dropped 7% year over year, so they're not spending as much money. But if your inventory levels are dropping, one has to ask the question as to why, and that's because the comparable sales are down 2.8%, so there's not as much foot traffic.
So much uncertainty in general right now. The retail side of things going to be maybe the last to catch up here, but if you zoom out, I mean, zoom out even more on this, you got to go all the way back to, what is this? I mean, the middle of February, end of February is when this selling really kicked off. A nice reversal underway right now, guys, but KSS trying to get back above 1450.
It's funny because these discount retailers actually didn't do too bad. We had, right here, we have Kohl's with KSS. I was just looking at Target, but yeah, KSS not with a great number. This will be on our watch list as well. Oh, okay, it's actually battling back. I saw this thing down 7% earlier today. And yeah, no, not anymore. So yeah, okay, Brendan, nice little bounce back right there. I wonder if this is one of those plays again that is a little bit on the short float side of things here. Yeah, 40%, 34% short float on KSS. And wow, the shorts have definitely one right here, as we've seen it come all the way back in, and actually a lot lower to go too in Kohl's. I thought we saw TJX had a good one there as well. TJ Maxx had a good report. We saw Costco battling back from that. Let me just see TJX. They're also a sort of a discount retailer, right? And I mean, why were they so much different? I mean, you can see where Kohl's is going and where TJX is going back up to the upside there as well. So that's actually a really beautiful play there for TJ Maxx. Wow, good move. Similar to like a Winners and everything that's around here. So I think the retail space, there's going to be winners and winners.
Nice.
Winners is they're a store here. I didn't mean like winners and losers, but anyways, Target also has been a nice little winner here. We're lucky enough to be long from here. Maybe thinking about getting out. I'm still trying to get greedy and waiting for 130. We hold Target also for the 3% dividend, which is not bad in the retail space. That name continues to rock. And I set a trade last week at 120, 122 for Walmart. I was like, maybe the switch is in now. Like, we've just gotten hit on Walmart a little bit there from its highs. Not hit huge, but came into, and maybe it's too late. There it is. Maybe it's too late now, but we got into that 121 area, and I was sort of thinking, like, maybe we get out of some Target and just into a better operator as Walmart. And, you know, you do have a nice little upside play potentially happening there for Walmart. Although Costco last week came out with earnings, and they had a little bit less retention on their memberships than a lot of people were liking or hoping to see. But man, like, what was up with that? Costco had a huge dip down. I don't know if you saw this, Obi, once this loads. There it is, having a little bit of chart blues over here. But Costco went from basically 1080 all the way down to 850 and change there as people worried about the tariffs. And then all of a sudden, just basically on nothing. Honestly, like, their earnings were last week, Obi, so it's not like it was starting to go up before then. We had something like 10 or 15 straight up days there, pulling back a little bit. I still like Costco in the retail space. So for me, I'm going to go with Target. I mean, it's really performing real well. We had Abercrombie last week as well. Sorry, American Eagle last week, as well as ANF. So we'll have to see if these names continue to perform well. But look what's happened here. This was a name that Joe and Sharif had a bet on, which I think Sharif actually won because it took out the highs there, but it got to 28. See, so this is what I'm talking about timing the market again. You know, like, buying AEO on the way up is great, but buying it on the way down ain't. And right now you're bouncing off $18, which might be a good level as you have the 200 period moving average. So a tale of 4 or 5 names I just ran through right there, all of which have, you know, their upside and their downside. In KSS today, down 7%, now only down 2%, maybe looking like KSS is the one that wants to ride today. I mean, so watch out for, there it is. Like, just might up another 1% or so. And I know it's, you know, finicky because it's not that much volume, and in one little move down, you could be back down into here, and all of a sudden you're down 5% again. But it looks like KSS here trying to hold bid. And before I go over to you, and if you have any retail names, I just wanted to see if there was anything on here for KSS, and I don't see it right now. So we'll have to hold off on a imbalance trade for it off the open, but I think it's getting a little bit better here with the volume coming in. It's only 8:57 now. It feels like we've been on for a minute. We're on live every single day now, 8 a.m., so make sure you guys join us then as we go over all the morning plays. And then when 9:30 hits, we'll probably be in a few trades, or maybe 9:35. I don't know.
Maybe
Trying to hold back.
Yeah, we'll see
A little bit there, but what are you seeing in KSS over there?
KSS, it's, I guess I would have maybe liked it better for the continuation if it held down here at that 13 level, because again, bit of a trend for me where it's just like, okay, we've already been trending down over the past few months. You can see here strong bid last time it had earnings, and you can see the distinct difference of its last earnings where you gap up, you hold those gains, and then you have secondary and tertiary legs that take you all the way up to 25s. But since then, I guess we couldn't really get back towards 25s, and that was November of last year. Now this earnings may be looking a little bit distinctly different here, but it is interesting to me that the dip does get bought right back up down to $13 almost, 12.96s, and then just a slow crumble all the way up. So I'll be watching it off of the open, but not as distinct as last time's earnings here. You can see it on the higher entire time frame, weekly, where we're sitting relative to where we've been. And yeah, this thing's just, you know, it hasn't been able to get back up to 50, and then we've held 25 for almost a couple of years, and now we're pulling back into some of these prior lows as well. I'm seeing that this, I don't know if this is all-time lows. No, it definitely is not. All-time lows coming, okay, all the way back in 92, sub-dollar pre, I'm sure it split a few times, but the most recent lows coming in at $5.88. I guess this is an interesting level to me right here on the weekly. You can see this little consolidation before that earnings report that I just talked about from November. We had lows down in and around this level, $13 to $14, and we're coming into that area as of right now. We actually bounced off of that area. So a couple of questions I'm asking when I see this kind of action. There were buyers here before. It seems like so far there are buyers here again. Let's see if this trend, the selling dominance that's been there for since prior earnings, if those sellers continue to dominate and we get back through some of these prior support levels. So those are the couple of questions I'm asking. But with the pre-market action, we're already holding, buyers bringing it right back up. So maybe we do get a strong day. I have no idea. But this 15, maybe I call that an inflection point for me, being like, all right, if we can stay below, maybe I like it for the continuation down, but if we get above 15, then I don't want to mess with that too much. Maybe even flip the script and flip my bias as well.
Yeah, I think we could get a good chance to get to $15 today. I mean, just on that short float. The short float alone should pump it up right off the open, and then we'll see if we get a little bit of a fade going through. Welcome to free agency day number 2 in the NFL right there. A lot of signings yesterday. In the National Football League. The Kansas City Chiefs got Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker, who's a running back, and Kansas City's been without a decent running back for a few years. So people thought Kansas City was finished, and they added
they got a good one,
a great player as well. So the Packers have a bunch of draft picks coming their way this year. I think one of the most draft picks in the league for 2026, 2027. So should be a fun year for us as well. And no major signings for the Packers or anything yesterday, but we lost Malik Willis, one of our backup quarterbacks, but that's okay. All right, let's go. Congratulations to Malik Willis, went to Miami. Ooh. I mean, talk about being able to play with, you got to go from Green Bay, where you're going to be minus like
exactly
10 or 15 during their playoffs or November, December months, over into Miami. He probably leveled up on the weather there. So shout out to your favorite NFL team. Busy day yesterday. That league never sleeps, man. So, all right, it's 9:01. We have the watch list available. Go check it out. Link in description. We're going to go through a bunch of names coming up right now.
All right, guys, 679 and a third is where we closed out yesterday on the SPY. I really want to bring your attention to these lower highs here and the lower lows as well. So this is the chart on the SPY, the 4-hour chart taking us back to mid-December. And now we have, I don't want to say, very much consolidative range, especially when you're getting these lower lows and lower highs. We're bouncing now off some of the lows yesterday. 660 is where we defended. That's as low as we got. We're right back into that 676, 677 area. So we're a little bit negative on the day, a little bit below yesterday's closing print. So first and foremost, we're going to say level 1, resistance level 1 is yesterday's close. If we continue to catch a bid, the overnight high, as you can see on that candle there, 681.5. That's going to be resistance level 2, Brendo.
All right, if you haven't done so yet, make sure you grab that. Absolutely free watch list for you every single morning, comes right to your inbox. In the description below, the second link will get you to the sign up page. And then all you need is your email address. As always, let's talk some oil here, because it was quite the reversal, to say the least, late in the day yesterday afternoon. This thing, I mean, talking about the futures, if you go out to the actual futures contract, when it opened on Sunday night, we're about 26, 27% off the highs from just 36 hours ago kind of thing. Unbelievable move back downside here. We are trending back higher early on this morning, back to $100 or thereabouts. I mean, 90 got taken early this morning, and we seem to be holding higher so far. But energy producers, my point here, energy producers nowhere near the same move so far anyway. No, the futures contract's been an outlier. And, President Trump tried to assuage some of the fears yesterday with his press conference. They're basically saying
that the war in Iran could end soon. The market interpreted those remarks as a signal that the energy supply disruptions may be temporary. We'll have to wait and see. Let's talk about the Strait of Hormuz, though, guys, because it handles roughly 13 million barrels per day. At least that was the average last year in 2025. That's about 31% of seaborne oil flows, not landborne. About 20% of the world's supply goes through there, but about over 30% of the seafaring oil gets through there. Trump warned that any attempt by Iran to block the strait would result in severe retaliation, saying he held in reserve certain targets that he chose not to hit, that he could hit, inferring, of course, the energy and the electricity infrastructure. Energy analysts say traders appear to believe the navigation through the Strait of Hormuz will ultimately be restored. But as we saw this morning with Secretary Hegseth and the chief of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, I should say, giving a press conference, the market started declining from that. And last but not least, Brendo, energy ministers from the G7 are preparing to hold a virtual meeting today to discuss the coordinated release of some of the strategic oil reserves. Discussions are revolving around between 300 to 400 million barrels, or about 25 to 30% of the group's combined strategic reserves. We'll have to see how that goes.
And that was the initial cause of the down move early yesterday. About this time, that announcement came out yesterday that this was going to happen. And we started to see some of this selling coming into play. But nothing compared, guys, to that move in the afternoon. USO, though, definitely the place to be.
Oh, what? This move right here? There it was. So here's 111 to 112. This was the trade that we had yesterday afternoon. And there's that bottom tick that we got at 99.12. So I remember when we were down near 100, and I was like, what in the heck? Like, once it started to fall apart, and I was like realizing sort of how this USO trades, because I told you guys yesterday, I actually just added it to the watch list yesterday as a scanner. It was always on the watch list, but into my scanners to hit certain levels. And all of a sudden, man, like when that news hit, we just flipped right over to USO and literally just punched short right there, almost at the lows at that time, because we were up at 113, 114, and then all of a sudden this happened. I punched immediately. Then it went against me. It was funny. So I was telling Obi, this went against me about $1, maybe a little bit more than that, and I just kept averaging in. And this is the thing. Like, sometimes you got to believe in the story, and it was just true. And then it just started to collapse. I was like, what? We're $1, $2, $3, $4, and then at this point we're $4 or $5 in the money. And then we said, let's just let this thing go. And I remember Obi and I was just like, Obi, just put out a price. Like, if it's trading at 107, just put like 106.10. You'll probably get it. And it was just wild. Like, this one candle right here is 108 top. That's 105. You had $3. These are 1 minute, all the way down. Here's another $3 in 1 minute. There's another $3 in 1 minute. That's 102 to 9. So they were basically moving $3 in 1 minute candles, right? And so it was a nice move down into $99. And so we got it. And for right now, today, I wrote down on today's sticky note, 111. If we pop it in this area, I'm looking short, right? Tensions seem to be easing, right? But we have to watch, as we know, the headline risk. So you guys can go find some of the trade ideas that I have there. And I just said to Obi, it's funny because 111 to 110 is the area we're looking. And that stopped at 110 there, now dropped into 107. So for me, and I'll give it back to Obi's for more of the technical stuff, but here was yesterday's 110 area. 2 days ago, and we couldn't break through 110, okay? So yesterday, we obviously opened up much higher. Obi sort of broke down the trade of potentially being short into this area and carrying it through. That top there is 115. I don't think we get to there today, and if we do, then obviously this 110 to 112 will be a problem. But now you're at 112 here for the 200 period moving average. So between 110 to 112 is sort of the area that I'm going to be looking short. Now, I don't know. We'll have to watch it, how this goes. I'm not sure I want to take it initially on the pop-up, but if we hover around and give ourselves an area or a look like this, where we're sort of basing out for a couple minutes, then we can look for the drop-off from that 111 area. But, oil gives you a lot of opportunities for yesterday anyways. Let's see if it happens today. So a brand new sort of equity trade in my blotter now is oil. And obviously USO is not the price of oil.
Right.
It's the CL contract. And let me just call it up because you're going to do oil. I just want to show people what the price of oil is. Then we'll go back over to OB. So we got as high as 91 or so, I believe, this morning. Yep, there it is right there. And now you're back into 88. So that move yesterday started in and around, again, 3 o'clock. It was 96 bucks. We dropped into the low 80s, and now we're back. So if you're going to look to buy something up, that result yesterday was 82. So if we come into that area, that could be an area to look at. Nice little support area also maybe at 84.50. So lots of stuff going on, man. And I'm going to be using USO today as my weapon of choice. Also, Battle's a good one, Endo, things like that. So right now, USO on my mind.
Yeah, definitely USO very, very much in play. And you covered some great points there. Headline risk, definitely a strong factor there. This is what it looks like here on the hourly. And I was just watching this, a bit of I don't know if I would really call it capitulation, but yeah, it kind of was there. And we're talking about how, yeah, very news-driven, I guess, vehicle here. You should definitely be watching crude oil futures at the same time. I do like that 110 level that we did break down going into the end of the day. But here's the thing, this thing is, because of the nature that it's very news driven, I think I'm just going to be patient and waiting for the next tweet. Like, where's the next tweet? Where's the next any sort of significant news about tensions easing? And that, if that brings in the right kind of price action, I do want to get involved and maybe pick some structural areas in intraday to kind of tackle and get into. But yeah, USO definitely one to watch out for. And yeah, names like Battle we're moving around as well. But yesterday, BATL not really too crazy there. You can see here it was just selling off all day anyways. This is kind of structured a little differently and doesn't necessarily follow oil futures as closely, obviously, as USO. I was also watching CVX here because, again, one of the oil stocks near all-time highs. That did have a bit of a move going into the end of the day, but nothing close to the magnitude of that of USO. So USO definitely top vehicle on my mind today. But yeah, I'm just going to be patient, wait for the news to come out. It's very easy to get chopped up on this thing, especially when, you know, there might not be any fresh news. And we were talking about this a little earlier, where I do think that right here we did get some news in the morning session, which took us all the way up to these pre-market highs. But there was a bit of a stall here and a great reason to sell, a great reason to be like, all right, well, if this is not going to go anymore, it was very clear that sellers kind of stepped right back in the same places where they were in the pre-market session there. And then eventually you got that stair step kind of consolidation, you know, leg consolidation leg intraday, which was really good there on USO. I do believe that it's going to continue being a great vehicle, especially for day traders. So we'll continue to watch this one very, very closely today.
I was going to say, we just did 10 minutes there on oil. And the thing about it is very, very, I like what Obi said there, very, very news-based. You know, you don't want to get chopped up just for trading it. You know, the only trade I made yesterday on it was that play. So I think it's something that we're excited for. We have it on our watch lists. We are going to be looking at it, but it is definitely a brave man's game, as I saw someone in the chat say. So just be careful with it and keep your ear to the ground on any OIL plays, Randy. Is there coffee on the watches? There could be coffee reload, maybe potentially. This thing is, I always like, see, now it's just, I still got about, oh, I don't want to drip it down, about like 40% left, but now it's cold, you know? So it's like, yeah, I know, I should just be chugging these things back in there. Randy won another donut today, by the way, on the roll up the rim to win. We got to save those donuts for Neil's fritters, apple fritters, the apple fritters. What was that, Sharif?
The rim to win you had for the free donut.
It's here somewhere. I gave it to Neil. So that's the whole thing, is that anytime we win a donut around here, you got to give it to Neil. He loves the apple fritters over there. You know what I've been getting? I got it yesterday too, before hockey. I got the protein latte.
Bang.
You know, I mean, it's an easy way to fill up a little bit there on the protein and have a sort of a coffee with it there. But anyways, yeah. And that was funny because we saw Beyond Meat the other day. That was one of the stories there that they had teamed up a little bit with Starbucks, going through the protein angle there to get going into some Starbucks. So we'll see if Beyond Meat wants to get through $1 at some point. All right, on to the next. Nvidia Nemo Claw. Let's go claw our way through this story.
Finding Nemo claw. There's another headline too that just popped up. It's kind of interesting. Nvidia making a quote unquote significant investment in Thinking Machines Lab, which is Mira Murati, former CTO at OpenAI's company. Whether or not that means anything or not as far as OpenAI goes, who knows? But a little bit more circular action for Jensen in a way.
Which is shocking me. I was telling you off camera, I heard there was like an exodus of talent leaving that, according to some reports, but Jensen giving it a nod, so not a bad look there. We'll keep an eye on Thinking Machines, but let's talk a little Open Claw here, or Nemo Claw, excuse me. It's going to enable organizations to dispatch AI agents that can reason, that can plan, that can perform multiple step workflows, and they've begun pitching this already to platform enterprise software companies, and they're signaling their, of course, their ambition here to move beyond hardware, as it will be mentioned, more into software. Of course, they're already in software vis-a-vis CUDA, but another branch to their software move here, Brendo. NVIDIA is also exploring partnerships with major enterprise software firms. We're talking about the Salesforces, the Ciscos, Google, Adobe, CrowdStrike, and they're reportedly offering early access to the platform in exchange for contributions to the open source project. Yes, this is supposed to be open source, meaning that people can use it and build on it without having to pay a licensing fee. And that works great with NVIDIA's moat, because if you're likely to use their software, you're probably going to use their hardware as well. I'm assuming it's a loss leader of sorts. The interest in Nemo Claw, though, follows the rapid growth, of course, of the open source Claw AI tools. And Jensen actually previously described OpenClaw as potentially the most important software release ever. Not a guy for hyperbole most of the time, so that's kind of a statement.
100% agree. This is the next step. This is the next evolution of this entire world, this agentic experience. That being said, I mean, this thing is still just stuck in the middle. Literally, you got to go all the way back to August. We've been going sideways here for NVIDIA, guys.
All right, I mean, I have it written down here at 180. I mean, I have it on the note today at 180. I think it's an interesting announcement. I think it's only a good thing. Right now, there's, as Brendan said, there's going to be probably more interest just in the space in general of sort of these bots. And it's nice to see NVIDIA getting into the game. But it's not like, you're still only down 0.3 right here. It's not like it's moving around. This is not a needle mover for the stock right now, it seems like. And you want to talk about a waste of your time. Like, if you dropped $1 million in to this back in the summertime, you might have been nervous thinking, what have I done? Well, you've done nothing. It's right back to where it's been all this whole time. I don't know why I used $1 million as an example, but just to say, like, there's nothing going on with NVIDIA right now. I mean, the last couple spikes up have just been earnings based. I'm actually like, I'm like an owner, don't trade right now in the long term. Like, I don't really want to buy more, and I definitely don't want to sell right now. I feel like that's a waste of time selling at this level, literally a waste of 8 months. No dividend available, nothing going on here. Or if there is, it's small on NVIDIA. I don't know, some of these companies just announce like 1 cent per share sometimes. But, you know, it looks like we do want to hold this 200 period, so that's somewhat interesting. But just on the day trade here, I have it written down on the note today as a second idea between 180 to 181. I'm not sure the market's going to have like a dramatic move today, to be honest with you. I don't know what's in store for the market. I mean, relatively flat here to start. I know we're starting to itch down a little bit, but it's not like the last couple of days where we started down 1.5% and battled our way back. This seems like it's going to be relatively slow sledding here today. So this 181, like any dip buys into there, I feel like, you know, could be something to look at. But ultimately, 180 gets us into a level that I like. Hey, Randy, down there, 180 and change. Oh, there it is. Go check that out. He just dropped the free donut back there. I see the thing. We'll have to hold that. But yeah, 181, 181.50 right there looks pretty decent. I just wrote down those levels. This is a name that I'm definitely interested in. And if you saw from yesterday, just real quick here, just to show you guys, yesterday we had these bases. And again, this is 176. I mean, the market was horrible yesterday. But once you sort of found a base, that gave you that kick to the upside. So that's kind of what I'm looking for here. Here's 180 where we were right before 3 o'clock, and we got that bump up. So I don't know. I'm not super excited about it, but I wrote it down because I like this new, Nemo Claw talk. I think it's interesting, but now that I look at it, I actually thought Nvidia would be besting the market today, and it's actually, with the market flat, Nvidia down 0.3. Maybe this isn't the story that I was hoping for it to be. So let's just be patient with it, see if it gets into 180. There's probably going to be more active trades in this space. So yesterday we saw SanDisk, we saw Micron, AMD always seems to be a mover. Tonight we have Oracle reporting as well. So there's 4 or 5 names right there that potentially have a bigger move than Nvidia today.
Yeah, I think I'm watching this 184. Just looking at the hourly chart for the past couple of weeks, can't really get above this 184 area, and we'll see if it can kind of get through there. So there's a couple questions that I'm asking when I'm looking at Nvidia. So yes, I like the Nemo Claw news, but there's been a bigger catalyst as of recent. That was earnings, and we sold off aggressively on earnings. Now we're holding lower with a held offer in and around 184. So if yesterday's strength continues into today and we get that push above 184, then maybe potentially I like it for scalps. But I think a big event that I'm waiting for is the GTC event next week to see what else they have, more information about their upcoming technologies and innovation. So we'll see how that one goes down. But that 184 is probably going to be a little bit of an over-under for me when I'm looking at Nvidia today.
All right, this one's starting to curl back up. A few people mentioning this as well. HIMS after that huge day yesterday. It was kind of funny. The move was pre-market, and then we did nothing essentially the entire day, just chopping around back and forth. But here comes yesterday's highs in a hurry here for HIMS. So Citigroup and B of A with upgrades on HIMS today. They're also talking about this new subscription benefits platform for holistic care subscribers. For the HIMS platform on the back of what happened yesterday with NVO, that tie-up that we talked about in yesterday's show. What were we going to do here? Oh, Rivian. Yep. Yeah, RIVN, nice upgrade here from TD Cowen. Bit of a pullback right now, but still. I mean, if you zoom out on that, we're starting to curl back up a little bit as well.
Yeah, this is a good look here. A lot of good comments about the R2, Brendo, and TD Cowen upgrading them from a hold to a buy, boosting the price target from 17 to 20. The firm is estimating full-scale R2 demand could reach Model Y levels. We're talking about 212,000 to 335,000 R2s delivered annually. Not, of course, Tesla numbers, but getting up there. I don't think anybody else in North America has really tested that quite yet. R2 SUV is designed as Rivian's mid-sized, lower-cost vehicle positioned below the R1. It's expected to feature 2-row seating for 5 passengers and utilize a new structural battery platform using cylindrical cells, and they plan to offer multiple drivetrain options. You can get a single motor, you can get a dual motor, all-wheel drive, a tri-motor, all-wheel drive, and they're saying this thing is going to do 0 to 60 in less than 3 seconds. I know that's become like the industry standard now with EVs. That's still really fast, Brendo, right? Expected to deliver, I should say, strong performance metrics. Pricing is anticipated to be competitive with leading SUVs. We're talking about, Model Y, Hyundai Ioniq 5, Ford Mustang Mach-E, and analysts view the R2 platform as critical to Rivian's path to scalability and profitability, so can't come any sooner.
I was just reading a story here on, you and I were talking about BYD earlier. China's BYD saying they're exploring a possible entry into F1.
Really?
This is the company that makes specifically hybrid engines.
Yes.
This year, the regulations in F1 are basically 50-50 electric and combustion.
How does that come
that
from
would
your
fit?
perspective?
That would fit as far as the regulations go now. I mean, Audi just came back or entered F1 for the first time because of these regulations on the electrical side. So that's kind of interesting. China's BYD saying exploring an entry into F1, maybe just as an engine supplier. Who knows? Thoughts on Rivian, guys?
Audi, of course, Volkswagen. So that should be an interesting one there. We can see what's going on over there. But yeah, for me, it wasn't even about Rivian today. For me, it's about NIO. And this is what I've written down here today. I'm surprised we don't have a Neo on there. Neo up 7%, bouncing off that $5 level. Seems to have been a good little, takeoff spot right into here. Last time we broke through, we got to 540. It looks like we're trying to do it again here today. So for me, I'm actually preferring to look at this earnings name. 10 million shares already here today. Obviously, there's a lot done right there on this note. That's about 3 million shares right there. But yeah, good little level there for NIO. Feel like we want to go long if it comes back into $5. Yesterday's close fought $4.95. You know, VWAP right now at $4.20. We'll just see how it winds up opening. There is a good opportunity for this name to get faded right back in, obviously. There is a buy side on NIO right now, but I like it, but it's just a matter of waiting to see if it does fall back into the $5 level. So I will be a buyer, it looks like anyways, in our household of the R2. So, you know, we're excited to get our hands on one of those. And yeah, just looking to get some Rivian stock. And I think we already missed that opportunity. And I sort of gone through this already. We hadn't spent too much time underneath the 200 period moving average. About 2 weeks there, about 2 weeks there, and you know, I guess about 2 weeks here, but we did have a move higher before coming back in. So it looks like, yeah, we've got a good base now, man. And I went through this already, and if we sort of zoom out maybe a little bit more, there's the low there, then we got a higher low, basically making higher lows there, higher low, you know. So now you're starting to go a little higher, needless to say, but you got to get through that 24. Like I still think, and this was that sort of thing when I went on that little bit of a rant about how, you know, it's about where you get the stock. Like this, nothing's really changed in this name from $22 down to 14. So if you still like it, I think you nibble now and you wait for a little bit more down here. Then you just try to do sort of that pyramiding. As you'd mentioned before there, Obi, but maybe this is on the long side where you just keep buying dips and adding to it, and then as it breaks levels, you can add more to it as you get right and you get the feels for the R2 and the R1 and R1T. My sort of buy order is already in for the R2. I don't know when they're going to be coming into Canada, but I'm excited for it, and I think the Rivian upgrade probably. Just wanted to get out of some shares, I would say, for whoever that was, TD Cowen there. But yeah, I'm a buyer of this at the 200 period. It looks like it's a pretty solid trade.
You know, in terms of Rivian, I will have eyes on it, but like you mentioned, Neo, in terms of EVs, definitely a stronger, I guess, catalyst for me. This one is just off of a bit of an upgrade. Most recently, we did have some earnings there, and I found some resistance here at the 17, and that 17 area resistance is showing up once again. In the pre-market session here, again, with a little bit of relative volume, you can see here we're doing about 10 to 11 times relative volume, and that 17 resistance has held so far on Rivian. So I'll watch this. That 17 is probably going to be a little key for me on Rivian today. But yeah, Neo, definitely the belle of the ball when it comes to watching some EV names today.
It's Archer moving around here, and Joby as well moving around here. Not seeing anything significant on these, but we'll keep an eye out. Nice bounce underway for both of those as well. Joby specifically, which I know you like, back above 1050 here.
That headline yesterday,
yeah.
Midday, yeah.
Trying to bounce once again this morning. Speaking of, here's CRWD, all of the cybersecurity names higher this morning. The day high, what was that? 448, I guess, or almost 448 coming into play again for crowd. Another one with an upgrade.
Yeah, Morgan Stanley giving them the nod today. Brendo upgrading them from equal weight to overweight, raising the price target from 487 to 510. The firm believes Crowd is one of the best positioned cybersecurity platforms to outperform in the coming years. They're saying, look, their Falcon platform remains highly competitive, especially in endpoint security market, and they believe the company's well positioned to take share from competitors due to their integrated platform. They consolidate multiple security tools into one platform. Full disclosure, PanDub does the same thing. It's called platformization. Morgan believes CrowdStrike's doing it better. Analysts are highlighting the AI-driven capabilities within CrowdStrike's next-gen security operations center, so using AI here to kind of detect, analyze, respond to cyber threats. And they said the recent decline, Morgan said, the recent decline in CrowdStrike's price, definitely a good entry point for longer-term investors, but they do anticipate more volatility.
Yeah, that was overdone. That sell-off was crazy in those stocks. Here's Joby right now trying to test pre-market highs and that move from after the close turning back upside as well, guys.
I mean, I just went to Obi, like, we got to go. Like, we only have 3 minutes to go right now. We're not even talking about Bitcoin or anything. Like, so CrowdStrike's not on my radar today as a trade. We've already sort of discussed this. I like the cybersecurity space. I think it is overdone. The last week, we've gotten a bump up from that 330 up into 440 again. I feel like it's crazy to buy something that's up that much, but, you know, the upgrade's there, so somebody likes it. I'm an owner of CrowdStrike and Palo Alto, so I definitely like the space and think that if you're not there, you maybe should be. They've still been getting beat up for a minute. There's a lot of money available there. Palo Alto's only at 160. Its high was 220. Lots of opportunity to buy these names, even at these lows. But I think it's a little nuts to buy it when you're at 330 5 days ago. Now you're at 440. So for me, it's a little bit of a holdback on CrowdStrike and this whole space, but definitely agree with whoever that analyst was there that's talking about long term. I mean, I think it's a no-brainer winner, and you want to buy dips, but I'm definitely not buying tops, which I feel like CrowdStrike on that move. Not that it's a top, but it's going to get top heavy, especially after an upgrade. So I'm going to chill on that one.
You know, I'm looking at a multi-hour chart here. I like where we're sitting in terms of a higher time frame. You can see that, yeah, strong selling came in, what is this, February 20th. I don't know what the catalyst necessarily was, but we're kind of, we traded right back above that and pushing a little bit higher with that gap up. So yeah, I do like the concept of buy low, sell high, but when things are doing this, I also like the concept of a buy high, sell higher, and CrowdStrike might be one of those, but we'll see if there's any real continuation. Like Sean said, sometimes when they're gapping up into some of these prior areas of resistance, I think the sell pressure could definitely be something to watch out for on CrowdStrike.
Yeah, my advice, there's the bug ETF, there's a CIBR ETF as well. So I was just gonna say, instead of picking individual names, you know, the whole sector is quite nicely tanking right now. So you do have an opportunity to buy bug ETF. And someone in the chat goes, man, you got to give your head a shake if you're trying to buy some Rivian. And I obviously know that Rivian was IPO'd at 108. So let's chill out that it's at $17 right now. All right, you guys want to talk about Tesla? We have 30 seconds.
Real quick, Tesla is super strong late in the day yesterday. We're starting to curl back to the upside here as well. There's nothing significant as far as headlines on Tesla today other than the relative strength we saw late in the day yesterday, reclaiming that 400 as well, guys. Good luck.
Yeah, Apple is going to the downside, but I just want to look here. There could be something here. Nothing really going on the imbalances, but yeah, good point there on Apple in the chat. Someone just said, what's going on with Apple? And it just did have a decent move down. It's not on my radar today, but I do not mind buying some of those on low opportunities for Apple, especially off the open. 2 and 1. Welcome to Trader TV Live, everybody. The market is now open, and Obi and I will take you through the first couple hours, and we'll see if we can find some good trading opportunities. The last couple of days, the Nasdaq really has taken off the open, so we'll see about that. We did not get an opportunity to talk about crypto. I thought it would probably be on that list there today, but Bitcoin up 3%. Lots to talk about today. As we said, a lot of opportunities. Waiting to see if we get a drip down into 40 bucks or so, maybe 39.80. Let's just give it a second to see where IBIT wants to go. It doesn't move like the rest of them off the open because it's been open this whole time. All right, so that's what's going on there. Check back in on the health of Apple. All right, so a little bit of a bounce back there, now only up down 0.6. Look at the Nasdaq right here, Obi. Oh boy, we're starting to go on that one. You're into HIMS already, so that's a good one.
Yes, sir.
Let's pass it back over to you and see what's going on with HIMS.
Yeah, no, HIMS. We talk about that second day potential play here on HIMS, where I'm just like, okay, leg consolidation leg, and we're definitely getting a little bit of a leg there, bit of a chop there on the test of 25. So talk about a beautiful opening drive. I should have been there at that 24.60, which was that prior day. Here comes 26s. Can we print those 26s? I have no idea, but we'll continue to watch this one with strong opening drive pressure coming in to HIMS. And hers.
Yeah, great trade over there.
Like,
yeah, good job, Obi. Keep dealing with that one. Yeah, Qualcomm dropping as well, down 2.6%. Bank of America downside there, underperformance rating on Qualcomm. They're down a little bit right here as well. Checking out on Nvidia. This man's hitting keys beside me, boy. 182.50. We're gonna have to see what's going on there with Nvidia, as it looks like it wants to make a move lower. I mean, look at the Nasdaq right here. Nice upside move. Looks like a downside play there for Nvidia, potentially into VWAP right now. It's only 831. On my mind, of course, we talked about oil earlier. And again, just because the U.S. market's open doesn't mean that oil is going to move one way, but it seems like right now it is downside, and we were both looking short, but not necessarily yet. I don't want to get involved with oil too much yet until we hear something else. Did Netflix finally take out $100 in the last couple of days? No, it did not. That's at $90. No, might have, but not today. $98. Right now for Netflix, not doing a whole heck of a lot. As I peruse through my list right now, NIO would be the other name that we haven't really looked at too much. Now open, giving us 515 now, NIO. I mean, I don't know, maybe this is not as exciting as I thought, opening up to these levels here and just kind of bouncing. Oh, it does get down to 5. Wow. You won't, I'm at 506. That got down to 508. So let's wait to see if we can get a 506 print against $5. That might be the one coming in. Yesterday's darling of a trade was Palantir, and that's making a move back in as well. Look at the Nasdaq though, man. The Nasdaq's still going higher. Name like Palantir falling in here, so that's a little strange to me. Potentially a bid coming up for me at Palantir, bouncing right now off 155.
Yeah, that talk about a beautiful, beautiful textbook opening drive
how did that go?
On HIMS, man. And the thing is, I was watching it and I'm like, oh, 2460s are right back in. And again, we talk about getting lucky and definitely a little lucky on that one here. But here was the preparation for that trade. We marked off a few levels yesterday, right? Now that opening drive for me, right, as of right now, is done. Sure, the pullback trade, that's a whole different trade. The back down into some of these levels from before. Now this is just a 5-minute chart here. You can see that, again, you had that strong leg all the way up from, 15s to 24s. All day consolidation, held that 21 pretty well, and then closed, breaking that flag going into the end of the day. Today coming in, gapping up, like I mentioned earlier in this pre-market, in the upper quartile of prior day's action, bidding up into the open. I really like this, and I was watching this, and I'm like, oh my God, HIMS is gonna go, HIMS is gonna go. Realistically, I should be, collecting inventory in this consolidation on this break of 23 halves on the push of this reaction high at 24.62s, and it gives you an easy $1.40 all the way up to 26s. And you can see right here, these are my entries and exits on that HIMS. And I see that Sean is also slapping some Palantir.
Yeah, nice move there as it just got into 155. That almost, so someone showed up here, Kathy, or I don't know who that was. I thought we were friends. Someone came in and just sold off like 200,000 shares or something. A big 2,000, showed up here at 155 and smacked it right against me. Like I was long. I actually bought these. I don't know if it's going to work. I'm out of 40% already. Actually, maybe we should get out of a little bit more. But what happened was there, I bought this right down. Okay, let's go. We're almost $1 in here. I bought this down there on that swipe down. And then all of a sudden, right at $15, like 200,000 shares showed up there and just sat there and does not take it out, and then all of a sudden it wiped down. So like right into here, I guess it was this tick right into here. You see like 400,000 shares. That was a swipe down, and we almost got stopped out. That would have been a killer stop out right there, considering where we are right now. So let me offer a little bit more here at 50. Seems like we may be having a little bit of a, there we go. So we get it. Yes, we did. So we got 57s there. Let's just see if, okay, and now we get 80s. All right, oh boy, good trade here. Already more damage today done on Palantir than yesterday, so we're happy with that. Let's see if it wants to actually go higher, though, and see if we can hold on. We have 40% left of PLTR. How's my friend NIO doing right now? Ah, boo, missed that by 2 cents. Okay, what's my friend Rivian up to right now? Nothing. What's Nvidia doing right here? Meh. Okay, I guess this market doesn't want to go, man. There it is, right back down in now is Palantir. So, it's a good thing we did get out of some of this. Let me get out a little bit more, okay? We'll take out some more at 30 now, and then we'll just have to wait. Our stop is 154.5. It does look like we are going to test that. Again, it's not, see, there's someone selling Palantir, honestly. So I'm glad that we were able to get out of a little bit there, but I am not willing to hold this. So we'll give back a decent amount there as we get something out at 30s. And now we just hold a little small piece and not going to average in. It feels like Palantir's selling off. Look at the Nasdaq, not really doing anything, and Palantir's going southbound right now. So not a great look here for PLTR against the market, right? So a couple good outs upside, but it looks like that sell pressure is back. Let's just let this trade resolve, but I'm out at 154.50s and then out of it for a minute until it can calm down, or we have to reverse into the short. So I'm going to wait on Palantir down here at these levels.
Yeah, that pullback on HIMS into that 2460 level was pretty solid. So it does give you an opportunity not only to reload on that prior day level at 2460s, you kind of pull right back up, and in the reversion of the reversion, great reasons to sell off the opening drive there. But the pullback, this is what I was talking about, the secondary trade here on off of that level. But I'm distinctly less sized on this one because I am chasing kind of the highs there. 2460s was a spot. Confluence with VWAP as well. There goes Neo. What's up there?
Up?
Keep an eye here on, a couple different headlines. You've got this NVO move down here. Apparently Novo Nordisk saying they quote, welcome further dialogue with the U.S. FDA. They're going to be continuing to take measures to address observations. Apparently this letter is in response to an inspection of their Plainsboro, New Jersey facility that took place in early 2025. So kind of a delayed letter here, I guess, for NVO, but the stock is pushing lower. So I guess they are welcoming, quote, further dialogue with the FDA. Keep an eye potentially in some of these fintech names as well. Here's PayPal, potentially could look at XYZ as well. Here, Elon Musk announcing that X Money will begin its early public access next month. I also want to let you guys know that at 10 a.m. you're going to be seeing me with some existing home sales numbers. So no data at 9:45, but in 22 minutes we will get existing home sales. Back to you.
Yeah, so we do get stopped out. Look, it's not it's a fail because it failed, but we're up on Palantir. Just not up what we were looking at about 5 minutes before. Palantir, we said there was a seller at 155. Come on, man, follow your own damn talk there and get out when it pumps up. But you know what? I thought that seller was gone. And then we had clear skies. Look at NIO, man. 506 we are sitting at. 508 is the fill down there now. 540. Bye-bye, Neo. Again, names written on here. USO, Nvidia, IBIT, NIO. But look what's going on with IBIT now. We're into IBIT. So, all right. Weren't sure we were going to get this one. Nice move in for IBIT right now. It was up 2.5%. Now only up that 1%. But we're in it here as it makes its move back into... I'm only going to hold this to 39.40. That'll be my next sort of... Wow, look at that call on Palantir. Money, go short, my guy. Remember, I was like, hey, if anything, we're going to go short there on Palantir. Yeah, nice. Yeah, looking good over there, but we don't have it. So there's the short there on Palantir. And then also, man, tomorrow I'm going to do that trade, man. If we start to see it, and Obi and I were just talking about it, like looking at the tape, right? I was saying to how do you know Hims is going to turn around? Or I know you didn't get out at the very top of that trade either, but it's looking at the tape. Yeah, no, it's good move. That's what I'm saying. We have some outs on Palantir, but it's about trying to figure out when that change is happening, when that swap down. Potentially. All right, I'm going to try 39.50s or so on the downside there, and then we'll get it from them as well. Just heard something about some financing maybe for Amazon. So let's see what that story's all about. Right now, not doing a whole heck of a lot right now for Amazon.
I believe that came out earlier, like a bond-related financing. This came out before 8 a.m., so that's not new.
Okay, perfect. So... no looking over here on Amazon, but I guess dropping a bond offering there. I thought it would have been, like if that was a news story, I think we could have got crushed there, but it doesn't look like it's doing much right now on that one, so we'll puff pass. And then we'll also look at here, I'm gonna try to get something out at 68 for a nice little move higher there. We are long at 39.50. This is what we wrote down on the note here today. So our first activated trade from our sticky note is IBIT. So here it is, man. It came into 39.50. We got it. We got 39.55, and there's the out at 67.68. So there it goes, man. It's another one, but not that much. We just need some of it to come through right now. So we're excited. We've got some IBIT. Let's see how far this name can run, man. I mean, it was 70,800 earlier. We'll see if we can get back to VWAP 39.90. Let's put an offer there and see if we're lucky.
Yeah, a bit of a pullback here on Hims before it got stopped out. I was just like, okay, fine. Let's just give it to those 25s. Yeah, we'll see. Back down at VWAP as of right now. We'll continue talking about this one right after we get back from Midday.
I have more on Novo Nordisk here. So I mentioned a couple minutes ago, NVO basically released this letter with regards to an inspection from about a year ago of their Plainsboro facility. Now I'm seeing another headline with NVO. I don't have any confirmation on this yet, but Novo Nordisk reportedly getting an FDA warning for not reporting all of the side effects of their drugs. Unclear which drugs, unclear the timing of this story. But either way here, Novo Nordisk without one but two FDA-related headlines this morning, and it's not even 9:45 yet. Back to you.
Micron, like some of the chips are running. I'm just pointing out that AMD's running, Intel's running, Micron's running, Nvidia not that strong. But you were pointing out Microsoft. Yeah, what the hell is Microsoft?
I was like looking at Softy. I was like, oh, you have it up too? Okay.
I have it on
yeah, so I was like, what is going on with Microsoft right now, Adair? I don't know if there's a story there, but from 410 down to 404, like in a straight line. Now you're sort of seeing the market try to give it up a little bit right there. We did get some more out. I'm going to get, now that the market's coming back in, that must be Fabian over there. Is he over there on the, well, that's Andre now. Hey, what's up, Fabian? All right, so I got a little bit, I'll take another 68, Phil. We got some 72s there out on, what's up, Adara?
Nothing on Microsoft. Apparently, Dan Ives thinks it's at garage sale prices. So if anything, a positive note from the always bullish Dan Ives.
Yeah, exactly.
Get your Microsoft.
When isn't any garage sale there for Microsoft? But I don't know why you would say that, to be honest with you. We've seen lower than, well, I mean, obviously he has his reasons, and we don't. Let's work on getting Dan Ives on the show there. I was actually part of a little, what do they call those things? A circle on Twitter. No, on Pod Spaces. With Dan Ives, about a couple months ago. It was really nice to hear his voice there, because you always see hearing them on podcasts and everything like that. And he actually either answered one of my questions or I answered one of his, and we were part of like a round table together. I don't even know what I was doing there, but it was fun. All right, so 400. I was going to say, like, if these are garage sale prices, then what about down here, man? 390, 380. I guess we're getting pretty close to those levels. So. Anyways, yeah, the forever tech bull there, Dan Ives. If there was a reason to buy it, maybe we could. And I mean, Microsoft might have right there, Obi, just touched down into a level that we've seen supported before, 404. So maybe there is a trade here for Sir Softy. What's up, Dara?
I have something here on oil. I'm seeing comments from Akazawa, who is the industry minister of Japan. I guess there was this energy ministers G7 meeting, or G7 energy ministers meeting, rather, that was taking place today. According to Akazawa of Japan, G7 confirmed their readiness to take necessary measures to support global energy supplies that would include the possible release of strategic oil reserves. But again, we don't have any confirmation there. Also, META reportedly acquiring Moltbook. I just saw this now. This could be an older story, but I'm just seeing it circulate, so I will mention it. Back to you.
Okay, thank you.
Was that acquiring Moltbook?
Meta.
Okay.
All right, so you mentioned today we have a big report here, and you know, nobody on our show knows anything about Oracle there.
Oh.
Yeah, hey, what's up there? Yeah, but there goes Oracle right down there from 154. So this name, not looking exactly like Microsoft, but yeah, some of these names here getting hit to the downside. So Oracle going down as well here. It does not look very healthy there, Oracle before earnings, but again, only down that 1%. It's funny, I zoomed into this futures here. I don't normally look at them that crazily close, but you are getting a nice bump up. Again, we've already seen the highs. Now we see the sort of those lows again. Now you're right back to VWAP. So what an uneventful start. If you're trading the futures, just right back to where you started at VWAP again. All right, so Tesla, look, I wish there was more to talk about here. Bouncing off of 402, I guess, is a nice little area there. I'm only in IBIT. We already made a little bit of money on Palantir. Wouldn't mind getting back into that name as well. But 402 looks like a decent dip buy opportunity there for Tesla if you guys are into it. Just looking at a little bit of a longer base chart here on a 5-minute, looking at E-signal. Yeah, I mean, this is a level, man, like 400. We bounced off there this pre-market. We'll see if we can hold it there today. 400 to 401 seems like it is the play. Let me just go back to my initial look at Palantir there. I think we did good by getting out, obviously. I mean, we took advantage of the move higher there. Bouncing off of the pre-market lows was sort of the first idea. Then it scared us. It went right back into the pre-market lows before blowing up. And then I told you I saw 200,000 shares or so being sold at 155 that I thought drove down. But 154 right now, looking to take it out to the high side. Maybe the seller's done on Palantir. I don't really want to get involved until 155 though. On the upside, it looks like crypto's still doing its own thing here, trying to bounce around a little bit here with IBIT. So maybe we can get a little bit higher play here on IBIT. And then just a quick check on Apple, and then we'll go over to the stock visualizer. Apple flat. So what I want you guys to do right now is, as Obi and I look for different names to trade, once I find it, I'll call it up right here. It looks like the SPY was winning there. Obi's already been on him, so we can have a quick little look at that. First of all, IBIT rate back up. I'm going to offer 73s. We get it. Good trade there. 20 cents on IBIT. Palantir, Softy, Google. I feel like we just went through all these. Oh, you mentioned Intel was up. So is AMD there. Nvidia kind of doing nothing when that had that clawbot. So I think that was interesting there. Amazon, we sort of a little bit talked about some of the big names there with Oracle and Microsoft. There's silver up 2.5%. Here's Bitcoin up 1 and a bit. That's not... Oh, that's the price of BTC. Maybe we can change that. Oh, people are voting BTC. That's why. Okay, that's good. NIO up 10%. Tesla's 404. Joby. All right, so for right now, we just... I'm just on, and Obi's on NIO, which I like that earnings play. But here it goes, man. Spin the money as we're getting near the highs now for IBIT. So good little trade there, man. Amazon needs an update. Okay, Amazon's a rocket ship I'm hearing about right now. Yeah, nice move higher there for Amazon. We'll get the story from Adair if there's anything. I don't really believe there is. The market's just moving higher right here. So looks like, therefore, Amazon go boom in the night as well.
Nothing new. Only story was that bond sale that, as I mentioned, came out well before the open.
Okay, so there you go, guys. Thanks, Adair, for the look there on AMZN. But for right now, just back up into pre-market levels again for Amazon. Interesting move here. I mean, normally I'm looking at the futures at this time, but honestly, we are just right back to VWAP. Thanks, everybody, for joining. Make sure you do hit the like and the subscribe. What's going on over there, Obi?
I'm just watching this Neo here as it kind of comes back into opening range highs, or not necessarily opening range highs. We've held opening range highs pretty well here. That was that $5.30 area, and then I was watching this. The 30 bounce was quite nice, pulling back up into the day's highs. So I did kind of get a little bit involved, nothing too aggressive just yet. I want to see some good push, but I guess the opening drive on this one was the place to be, because what were some of those pre-market highs? 534s, and it takes you to 547 on the push, so about a 3% push on Neo right off of the open on the opening drive. Yeah, maybe I didn't really measure the percent of the HIMS push, but for HIMS, I like this. Again, I did mention earlier that I am in much less, or I was in much less size here, chasing the 25 quarters there, stopped out back into 25s, only about, I guess, around 10% of what I took off of the opening drive. Again, that one, a lot more conviction, a lot more higher EV than this one, but as of right now, holding VWAP, that might change as I'm speaking right now, as we're pulling right back into VWAP, but holding VWAP quite well here on him. So let's see. All day yesterday, bit of a sideways consolidation with higher lows breaking out of that, what was that level on HIMS? It's in and around that 2260s area there on him. So I'm gonna get out of this one right here. Neo, let's see if there's any more above this 530 level here for to take the continuation. But strong push off of the earnings report there. Nice little pull into $5.08 off of this opening, I guess opening flush. The drive necessarily, opening drive, if you really want to get specific with your definitions, opening drive was actually a downside move from 525s down to 510s, but then the reversion of that, the back through open happened at 526s, the back through opening range highs happened at 530s, and this little pullback kind of holding right now. So I might have definitely gotten out of this a little too early as we're back up into the 40s, but I think the better trade here maybe through this day high here at $5.47. HIMS continues to hold. It's hella choppy here, about 20-30 penny wipes each way, but every time it gets into this VWAP area, there are definitely buyers there and a little bit of market tailwind to help us on that idea as well. Let's take a quick look at USO and see what our friend USO is up to. I know there hasn't been news yet on this one, and yeah, just a chop fest. This is just a chop fest here within, just chopping in and around that opening range. It still hasn't got up to that 110, but we did see that test of 109.60s, which was the pre-market high there in the earlier session. So just chopping around this this opening range right now. Rivian. Nothing to do for me. You see that? You saw Rivian?
Yeah, I mean, I just saw Rivian. Whoa. I mean, Rivian up 9%. I mean, this is the one here that I feel like we missed. By the way, we just got an 80 fill on IBIT, so you know we're actually cooking right now with gas on Rivian. It's a good trade there. Sorry, on IBIT with Bitcoin. I mean, I liked it. I mean, we put it down on the list. We put down right here. Oops. Equities mainly softer today. Obviously, a few bright spots that we've talked about, but there's IBIT there, 39.50. We like that one. Take a look at 70K, and wow. There it goes, man. IBIT, we just got 85s right there on IBIT. So there's the dip buy right there at 39.50. So really happy with that trade. Seems like that's working out well. With Bitcoin maybe moving back higher, what about Robinhood? And again, a name that like I'm just so lazy on. I mean to be buying some Robinhood down in these levels, and I just haven't been able to pull the trigger on it. Still looking at some SoFi as well, but Robinhood, nice move lower today down into 78.50, now back to 79.50. And again, on the chart, I mean, I like some Robinhood there. Feel like there's a good opportunity to buy that name. SoFi is a name that I'm kind of been leveling into. I really like the banking aspect of SoFi, but apparently that's the thing that nobody likes right now, as we're worried about private equity, right? And I mean, and how much exposure do these guys have to those loans and those businesses, as well as software names? That's the private equity problem right now. We've seen a name like Blue Owl get hit to the downside, as well as, you know, people worried, are they going to be able to get their money out of some of the investments that they've made right now, as these software names continue to be a problem in the overall market. And, you know, a name like Blue Owl, and then we've seen, well, why is CrowdStrike not loading up here? You know, names in the software space that have actually worked out well. And remember earlier, Obi, what did we both say? I would not be buying CrowdStrike up near at some of these levels. Well, the iron strikes, and CrowdStrike down $18 right now. Its high was 448 right there, right off the open. Someone hit the buy key, and then it fell all the way to 430 and looking to get a little bit lower. I'm assuming there's something similar here for Palo Alto. Put your ideas in the chat, man. Nvidia with a nice drop I just see in there as well. I don't mind buying some Nvidia on any drop downs. It's not dropping, so if that does come in, I don't mind getting some Nvidia. We wrote that down at 180. That's not looking, or 181. That doesn't look like it's coming in right now. So for me, man, it's just a moonshot of IBIT right now, which is starting to go. We did take advantage of that move down, and now we're you know, reaping said benefits on the upside here for IBIT, and maybe looking at Coinbase maybe as something. But what do you got your eyes on? I think we just ran through a bunch of stuff there.
Yeah, no, still, I mean, I really
Tesla.
like that Rivian move. Rivian's breaking out of that 17 and now 1735s. So a nice little continuation there on Rivian. I do like that. When I'm looking at some of the other stocks that were in play today, let's take a look at this one that did work
Tesla's
out quite
going
nicely. Yeah, I guess that Tesla move, definitely an EV move potentially happening here. We're seeing that Neo holding up pretty well as well. That's the main one with the catalyst. But we were also looking at BNTX here. So BNTX, BioNTech. So a little bit of a gap down. I was looking at this for a potential continuation, and continuation we definitely had. You can see how, again, sometimes you just got to keep it simple. More of the same. Since the earnings report, you know what, we can even, the anchored VWAP is going to be relatively same or similar to the actual VWAP on the day, because we had pre-market news. You can see here, that's that green line, so don't really need it, even though it kind of hugs it a little bit tighter. But regardless, you can see every pop into VWAP is getting sold in the pre-market session. Guess what happens off of the open? You get a pop from 83s all the way to 85 halves, VWAP sitting at 85s. 85 clean, 84.95s, and then sellers step right back in. Not only do you get a back through open, you get a back through opening range low, and then you even get a back into pre-market lows on that 80.85 for a day low of 79.50. Sure, we're getting a bit of a bounce here as of right now, but talk about a beautiful drive off of the open, giving us more of the same here on BNTX. Now, is this name SSR? That's the next question that I'm asking. I know I can just measure it out, but I'm going to pull it up here on my L2 and see if it actually is, and it definitely is right there. So that's usually in and around about a 10% from prior day's closing. Yeah, definitely it hit that SSR mark well into pre-market session, but SSR mechanic does not come into play or is not enforced until the open market, and we definitely see that any sort of a bid that did come in off of the open, not enough. There's definitely sellers on board here, and why, you may ask. And now you know I can make all of these assumptions as to why things might be the way they are, but guess what? We're coming into some multi-time frame lows. So any and everybody who is long. So what does it take? I've said this multiple times before. What does it take for an SSR stock where, you know, shorts can't hit the bid, especially if you're just hitting it naked without any long inventory, you cannot hit the bid. So it's only longs that are hitting the bid. So if you see dark reds, we were talking about kind of reading the tape earlier, how I have my tape set up is that if you see dark reds here, it means that people are hitting the bid and below. So only people that can do that on an SSR name is people who already have long inventory. So it gives you an idea. It gives you a look into the market as to who might be selling, and it's definitely longs that have already that are already holding shares that are doing that. And speaking of sellers coming into the market, here's some sellers coming into the futures as we drop back below that 25K mark here, an opening range low coming in on the ES as well as 6770s. Pull right back in on the ES there.
Yeah, no, I have a couple trade ideas. People asking if there's anything setting up there. I think Obi just went over a bunch of names, so take a look at all those charts that Obi's dropping for you guys in there as well. 404, I'm going to go long here, supporting VWAP, supporting this 50-period moving average. VWAP 403.50, if we lose that, we're out. Sorry, 403.50, right. So I'm already sitting here at 404 change. So if this drops down $2, don't know if it's going to do that, but I want to be here in case it does. We do have, it's a home sales number, right, at 10 existing home sales. So that's coming out at 10 a.m. We'll look for their 3.88 million right now existing home sales coming out in 2 minutes, and Miss Adara will have that for us and all of y'all as well. All right, so Palantir here. I don't know how to talk, like, how does Carolinians talk there? Shout out to my friends in South Carolina as we wear the hat. This is where my brother got me this hat. We spent well, not our, I went with a lot of dudes. Neil was there, a bachelor party we did in South Carolina back, because my wedding's in April. So what wound up happening there was we went golfing. We wanted to get some warm weather. So we actually went down end of March. Actually, it's coming up about now into that, and what a great time that was. Palantir downside as well. Look, Palantir's going to break the lows of the day here, as is the futures on the open market. And there it goes. I just kind of silly to not have been short rate here or so, but you could see a nice little move down. 154.50 I was thinking about as a short coming through for this, but for right now, not filling up, so we got to be patient on our trade there. IBIT has come back in, right? I'm only holding a third left. We got a whole bunch out here at VWAP, a bunch of outs in the mid-80s, right? 82, 83, 85 there, a bunch more. Then when we drop there, that's a 79. So we're getting lighter. I do want to buy the dips if we come back into IBIT as well. Let me just check out on Tesla, because that's the mover for me right now, and this is the one that could fill. So 404. Right now. So we have 30 seconds. We'll go over to Dara just momentarily to check that out. And then right now, 405.80, yep, is what's happening right now for Tesla. If we do get that drop down into 404, you're going to see me long right now on TSLA. All right, Adara with their segment and the numbers at 10 a.m.
We are waiting here on existing home sales, as Sean mentioned, 10 seconds until we get that print. Existing home sales forecast 3.88 million, previous 3.91 million. Existing home sales change here month over month. Negative 0.77 is the forecast, prior negative 8.4. Waiting for that print to populate. 4.09 million for existing home sales. It's going to be higher than expected, and as such, existing home sales change month over month for February 2026. Also going to be higher than expected, 1.7% versus negative 0.77% expected. Here's the Nasdaq, kind of pushing lower here right now, though. I guess now at this point, basically flat with where we closed yesterday. We did gap up as we had the market and traders digesting the possibility of an end to this tension in the Middle East. President Trump said the war is nearly over during his comments yesterday. I also have some more headlines here about the Strait of Hormuz. Just seeing apparently it is effectively closed to most vessels. We already more or less knew this, but I'm just seeing this come through, so I thought I'd let you guys know. You're going to keep an eye on these Strait of Hormuz headlines, or of course I will, and I'll communicate them with you all. Another, I guess, trend here with the headlines today has to do with AI and these agents. NVDA was on watch this morning, Wired reporting that Nvidia is launching this Nemo claw. We talked a lot about the Nemo claw, likely going to get more details on said Nemo claw, open source AI agent platform on March 16th with their GTC keynote. That'll be, of course, next week, and I'll be covering that for you guys here on this desk at Trader TV Live. META, though, also had like a sort of open source assistant adjacent catalyst as well. Axios reporting that the company has hired the duo behind Moltbook, which is like the Reddit for these AI agents, and also reportedly acquiring Moltbook as well. Tons of earnings on watch again today. KSS at intraday highs. Really good look. They did beat an EPS and sales. Guidance was kind of mixed though for fiscal, or I guess for Q1 2026. So we're gonna have to wait and see what happens there for KSS. In the meantime, I also want to talk about ORCL. They're reporting after the bell along with AVAV. Now, Oracle, of course, has been on watch as of late. Lots of reports about their cloud infrastructure situation going forward. So I guess we'll find out the health of that business tonight at 4:05 p.m. In the meantime, we're going to go over to Sean and Obi, I'm so sorry, for the morning show.
Right, we did get a little bit more IBIT on the drop down rate there. So a little bit of a pickup there at 47s, I guess, 48s. Nice little trade to bring this back up. I was going to say, I am offering 48s there and just took a fill. 58s on IBIT. So a good little reload there. And we go reloaded. Hold on, then I got to do something. It's going to hit this. Okay. I'm reloaded. All right, last week, Trade the Pool hosted a live draft where 12 stock coaches built their starting five. 5 stocks they believe can survive the bracket and win the tourney. Now it's your turn to join the madness. Challenge numero uno. Pick the coach you think has the strongest team. If they win the tournament, you could win an evaluation trading account. Challenge number 2. Think you can beat the coaches? Build your own core 5. If your pick outperformed the tournament champion, you win as well. Sign up as a group and your prize pool doubles if you win. Trade the Pool is putting up $2 million in prizes on the table. The tournament starts the 16th of March. Scan the QR code now, and please get in the game. Okay, what's up, TPS reporter there? He's talking about how he's coding in there with Claude. So I don't know exactly. Here it is right here, TPS reporter. What are you coding, man? Give me something to code with over here, man. I'm looking for a trade bot or something like that. But there it is right there. The AI world is so funny as I sit here programming with Claude. So. Yeah, that is the future, it feels like right now, right? Is all of this. All right, man, position alert. What will we do? What will we do? We are now long on Tesla. Remember, this goes down 50 more cents. And we gone right now on TSLA, man. Do not need this stock going too far against. Oops, just got some there at 404.20s. We'll see if we get a little bit higher now as we're starting to run here a little bit on TSLA. Hopefully back there. There we go. We get a 35. Now we're going to wait. Here it is, man. There's another one for you, man. It's let's see if we can get a little bit of cash printing through here on, I'm about to say Nvidia, on Tesla. I don't want to get out. There we go. Get some outs at 40s there. Don't want to get out of it all, but there it goes, man. Nicely running the table here on Tesla. That's going to be a great trade. And by the way, oh boy, Obi, this is a much better trade for me than that Tesla one. Bang right there as the money's coming through right now. There it goes, man. 1-for-1 Palantir, 2-for-2 big with IBIT. Let's see if Tesla wants to hold as well. 50 cents in the money, 60 cents in the money on TS to the L to the A. There it is, man. It is your first dollar club right there. It's Tesla. We gave you 404 change, man. We bought some more at 403.80. There goes Tesla, 405 and change. Man, your boy is hot today. Let's go, man. We've got the gear on right now. We've got our good friend here beside us. Bang, Tesla, 405. Let's go, man. Let's get hyped up, Obi. It is time to go right now. And there it goes, man. Tesla to the moon there, hopefully. And we can get back to 406.50. But yeah, there it is there. Let's we have different levels.
Levels to it. There's
levels to everything.
Nice.
All right, there goes Tesla right there. Almost got to 406, and I'm sitting here talking about levels. There it goes. That's a big move here. IBIT's a big move, and it's an oh boy kind of a day right here for TTVL. As there goes IBIT, and there goes Tesla. What's up, Adara?
Oil in focus. Finance Minister of France, Lescure, making some comments right now saying that they and this group here asked the International Energy Agency to study stock oil volumes for a potential release. So it looks like Lescure once again here following comments yesterday, is really advocating for, if not the release of these stockpiles, at least the preparation for the possible release of these stockpiles, saying further, quote, we have asked the International Energy Agency to elaborate scenarios for that possible oil stockpile release, and saying, quote, everyone is willing to take measures to stabilize the market, including the United States. This everyone likely referring to the G7, because Lescure was at that meeting yesterday with these other finance ministers. Back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Dara. Just watching that USO, I did bring it up after you mentioned it. So far on the day, USO has been holding that VWAP a little bit there, and HIMS is now below VWAP, holding VWAP here as well. I got a little bit involved in BNTX, just a small bit here, looking for that potential push towards low a day, as we did bid up to those 82s. But again, this is buying kind of came in already here, and this might be the part where, you know, it is SSR, buyers might start to become into control. But I do like the fact that we came all the way back down, almost into those day lows, looking for a potential continuation, because again, relative to where we're sitting on the higher time frame chart, I do believe that this thing may have some more selling into it. And again, the market tailwind definitely on our side, even though it's doing its own thing, has its own earnings report. There goes HIMS. Again, we were holding VWAP so well, and then we started to chop around it, now holding VWAP as a bit of resistance, pulling back into 24.54. So what am I looking at here when it comes to HIMS? Now, this chart's starting to get a little bit crowded. I drew a little bit of the trend line. That didn't really come in with any sort of significance, so I'm holding that down. But this sell was pretty aggressive, so I was just like, just how I like to draw the anchored, or put the anchored on the beginning of the event where the news comes out. This strong volume, this open off of the open, this volume off of the open, I also consider that somewhat of an event. And you can see here dropping an anchor there. You can see that nice little pinching action there as it holds as resistance. So why do I like the anchored VWAP? Shout out to Mr. Brian Shannon. It kind of gives you a perspective of where the average participant is sitting from an event, and an event could be anything. I usually like to kind of pin it to volume, because regardless of what the catalyst is, if something's going to do anything, there's going to be volume on those bars. So that can right away signify that's a potential event. Regardless, I do like that opening drive as a potential event. You can see here that we held that area as resistance, and then VWAP as well held on the other side. So now we're kind of breaking those levels. We have these levels marked off from yesterday. This was that reaction high at 2460s, trading below that. Nothing really that I'm seeing all the way down until 2350s, 2348s here on him. So I'll be patient for that one to potentially come in. But let me know in the chat, what are you guys looking at? What are you guys trading?
And I also want to know from the chat what this means.
What does this mean?
I love Vince Vaughn. I'll take it. I don't know. I like Vince Vaughn. Watch out for some dodgeball. I'm a pretty good dodgeball player.
Oh, okay.
As well. I don't know if that's
yes.
a reference over there. Okay, guys. Yeah, by the way, Tesla came out. So we basically made as much money as we did on this one as we did Palantir. It's almost the exact same trade, to be honest with you. All right, we are now loaded up in IBIT, as that just made a move down as well. The market's really coming in. So all these longs that were once pretty sweet are now all crushed as the market hits lows right now. So yeah, not a great start to the day if you're long anything. It's a good thing that we've taken advantage of all this. Look at this Palantir out, Obi, by the way. Now it's at 151 and getting a heck of a lot lower. All right, upside here on IBIT. What's up, Adara?
I actually saw Vince Vaughn live at TIFF this year. Let's take a look here at the USO. Once again, more oil headlines. We're getting some comments coming from the foreign minister of Israel, apparently being asked when and how the war with Iran could end. Foreign minister of Israel responds, quote, we will consult with Washington when the time is right. Also saying they do not view this conflict with Iran as a, quote, endless war. So basically, long story short, Foreign Minister of Israel is not only ready to end the war with Iran at some point, but saying when they're good to go, they'll talk with the U.S., with Washington, to get that resolved. So if I get more details here, I'll let you know. But USO, we're in this 107 area as we get comments from the Foreign Minister of Israel. Also still seeing some speculation, or sorry, not speculation, circulation of comments from French Finance Minister Lescure. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Adara. All right, man, another hot dog cannon kind of a trade here as we were able to dip by there on IBIT. I mean, I don't know for how long this stock will be where it is. I mean, Bitcoin right now having a day, that is for sure, moving around just a little bit here. So let's just start to skip some of this drama and get some out. If we bump back up, we just got a whole bunch out there at 47s and 48s. We did take a bigger fill there, but my stop is still 39.50s. Sorry, 39.35 break. It almost did that. It looks like it's going to do it right now as Bitcoin is losing the bid here right in front of us. So, you know, again, what was a good long trade where it just no continuation. We continued a little bit there up to VWAP. We didn't even get close to VWAP this last time. And now it looks like we want to go lower. So we've just been emptying out the bag here on these longs and just wishing that we had sort of flipped over our opinion into the short. And what are you supposed to do as a Palantir right now looking at 150? That could definitely be a spot of concern there, 150 on PLTR. Not really seeing a whole heck of a lot else that's going on right now. Well, I mean, the market's going down, but Apple holding, I was going to look at that maybe as a potential long, but why do we even want to go long? If anything, the market is at a spot right now that we got to test, right? So this is a pre-market low of basically 24.9. So we're trying to bounce off of that right now. So that's good for the IBIT position right now. You're in BNTX. Wasn't that an earnings name that we had talked a little bit about? Okay, good. So good play there on the earnings play. We'll go get Obi's opinion on that in a second. But we just took another 48 on IBIT. So we took a 46 and a 48 there as we start to bump up. I actually got out of half of it only for this level. So whatever, man. We had just whatever amount of shares there. Was a bigger piece than we've had on IBIT, so that's why we're trying to scalp it out just a bit right now. So let's see if it wants to mature up, but we got out some more there on IBIT 47. I might as well get another piece out at 47 as well if it does get back up to there, but yeah, right now just doing what we're doing. Why don't we talk about, I haven't heard you mention BNTX yet, so.
Yeah, so just kind of pulling into those day lows right here, 70 halves, I think. Yeah, 70 halves clean on that. It hasn't really been able to bounce. I like the low flag that's happening here into the 79.60s. Okay, yeah, nice. I was posted a little bit above 80, didn't really get me there. Here's the thing. Sometimes, you know, it's funny. In my pod, we kind of joke around. There are people who like to post and provide liquidity. There are people who like to remove liquidity, and trade dependent. You really have to decide what kind of participant you want to be in and around those times. But let's take a look at some of the stuff you guys are talking about. I saw some SNDK in there as well. I know that Micron is relatively strong right now. Again, relative to the market, SNDK kind of a similar action here as we trade a little bit higher. Micron, why do I like Micron a little bit better here? It's because you can see more strength there. Doesn't really pull back that much in the market. If it's going to bounce off of this 24,900, kind of like this a little bit better here for a pull up. It did break out of that 400, which was nice on Micron. I guess relative to some prior day levels, you can see that yesterday, some aggressive strength coming in all the way to 390s. Let's go to a higher time frame on this one right here. Get that VWAP out of the way. We don't need that on those higher time frames. Tesla. Nice, yeah. The bounce is coming in here on the market, sure. But consolidating here, prior levels I'm seeing here on Micron in and around, what is that, 408s? Yeah, 407.87s here, 406.45s right now. So Micron definitely on watch for me, but the opening drive was the place to be on Micron here. We got a super chat from Robert Lewis, 8344. You think PLTR found a bottom now? And I don't know, you've been trading that one a little bit.
Yeah, I just got into Tesla, but why don't you look at it and see what you think about the chart? I mean, I potentially think it has found a bottom, yes?
I mean, yeah, like you can see recently, like I'm gonna ask simple questions. Where did we see strong buyers before, right? And right here, you can see here from last Friday, the lows were 49.70s. We'll call it a clean 150. Even the day before that, there was buyers even the day before that. Wednesday, strong buying off of the opening drive blasts through 150. The next day pulls back in after a test of 156 down to 150s. Guess what? It stalls, it holds, and it trades up a little bit into the close. The next day coming in flush in the pre-market session, 150 comes in. all day buying with a bit of reversion going into the end of the day there. So 150 seems like the place to be, or the place where buyers have been over the past week or so, roughly since last Wednesday. So that's kind of what I'm seeing as a place of interest for myself there. But all day today, just sellers in charge. You can see pre-market lows that got chopped around a little bit. Prior day lows probably was the place to get in and to slap the lower there, and that was 153s clean. And you can see here 153s. This is a 3-minute chart. Doesn't really look back, and we get all the way down to 151s, 150, 98s. 98s is the low here on Palantir. So that's the look that I have on Palantir right now, Sean.
All right. Yeah, look, we're green on everything we've traded so far today, but could always be bigger. It's just the market is not going higher for us right now. And there we go, man. We got some out there at 40s and 50s. We talked about that. And then there's the drop down on IBIT. I mean, take the profit when the profit is there, and then, it's not holding 70,000. So unfortunately, down goes IBIT. All right, so we'll chill out on that and just wait a second. All right, a nice move up there. All right, I was offering 70s. We get it on Tesla. We are reloaded on this one, so we did buy the dips right there. I mean, you were just talking about Palantir. That's why I wanted to pass it over to you there quickly, because I was doing the same thing on Tesla, where I was thinking that maybe we're down back near some kind of bottom. So we did buy some Tesla. We're long at 402.20 right now. It's 50 cents in the money, and it's okay. Let me get out another piece here at 80s. That's fine. The next area for me, 403 flats. We have an offer there. Maybe we can get that. I also have an offer at 90. Maybe we get that as well. But just trying to get lighter. There it is. We got that. Sorry, it was at 84. Now we wait for 403s, which looks like we're going to potentially get that. And then 403.25, and then we say when moon. So we just want to make sure that we get a little bit out of Tesla, because we were partying like it was 1999 there, and then all of a sudden they said no, and Prince was like, nah, man, we're not partying like that. And then there it is, man, 404, the next spot. Booyaka! As we get the face slapper right there as we go into the money now. Another $1. So that's a good move there. But look at this fade back in immediately. So good couple outs there at 403 flat as we fade right back in again. So this is what I mean. The day could be so much bigger, but I'm not anyways on my trades getting the follow through to the north side. Looks like this could just be a sell day on the Nasdaq, and we're not getting that bump up. Generally speaking, though, around this time, I mean, yesterday around what day is this? We don't even have the days marked on here. This is the 9th right here. So 9th at night. Okay, here we go. This is March 9th. Yeah, so yesterday we started to get going. Actually, we got going pretty early here on the Nasdaq yesterday, straight off. That's 10. Actually, that's right now, actually. This is 10:15 on the Nasdaq yesterday is when we started to bump. So maybe now today we get a little bit of something here happening on, that's a 24-hour chart. That's why I did that. But maybe now we get a little bit of a bump up in this market. Numbers are through us. Existing home sales were higher. Right. So that might have been a good thing. And we'll just see if now the market wants to hold. It's already 10:20. It looks like we're bouncing a little bit. I'll take a little piece off here at 78. We get that. So I'm still in half of this trade, all right? So let's wait to see what winds up happening now with Tesla as we say, let's go to Elon Musk and company. Long Tesla. I've been long IBIT. There it goes. IBIT, Palantir, and Tesla so far today. Give me that 25 level, my guy. 403.25 is what we're looking for. Booyaka. We got that again as we're seeing the market clearly today, Obi. So far, nice. So good on the trade day. We're here and we're ready.
Good timing there. USO coming right back into 105s there. There was a little bit of a spike down there. So I don't know if anyone's saying anything really, but you can see here just sellers in charge off of the open there. VWAP hold, and then opening range low or day lows right there. It gets slammed, and you get a print of 104.86s here on USO. So I guess the trade has been just, getting involved at VWAP as of right now, but I did say I'm going to be waiting for any sort of a significant news. There goes 105s there. Let's pull this one up so we can take a look at this. This is the tape and the book here. I'll pull it up as well on the chart. USO.AM right there. There's 105. There's the 105 test coming in here, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Market's bidding up. Oil's kind of coming down. 105, I guess, is a bit of an interesting area, but I don't know where that really confluences with where CL is, which is probably going to matter a little bit more to me here. But yeah, that's kind of what I have on watch. I'll pull up BNTX tape here on the screen as well. That's an NQ stock right here. So yeah, you can see how this one is kind of doing. So yeah, we definitely need a lot more filter than that right there. So there you go. I just filtered for anything, any size that's I guess 1,000 shares or more. I'm pretty sure, yeah, that's his absolute size, so 1,000 shares or more. Actually, you know what? I want to make it a little bit clearer. So we'll make that font white and the background red as well. So we can see that a little bit more clearly. There it is. There's Buddy at 8091s sitting with 1,000 shares. Not a lot of shareage. It's already done about 4.85 million shares on the day as of right now. But right now, let's see what's going on in the small cap world with Adara.
First, I want to mention here with regards to oil. Now, I know Obi was asking if there was any news. We already kind of had some indication of this from those comments we had from Lescure, but now we have Faith Birol, director of the International Energy Agency, or IEA, saying that the IEA is meeting to inform whether the release of oil stocks is needed. So I'm going to put that headline on the screen for you guys. If I get any more on that, I'll keep you posted. But it looks like EIA is meeting to potentially, or I guess to discuss the potential release, rather, of these oil stocks. I want to talk here about SGN, Signing Day Sports, announcing the completion of its proposed business combination with blockchain digital infrastructures. You can see by the name of the company, it looks like this is both a crypto adjacent and AI adjacent play. So SGN moving higher. This is a name that has rallied in the past, roughly $22 million market cap and nearly 40% short float for this penny stock SGN. Next up, VTAK, Catheter Precision. This is another name that I recognize that's rallied in the past. Acquired the remaining 80% equity in Flyflight from a company called Created. No financial terms disclosed, but I can tell you about FTAK's makeup here. 3.25 million share float. $3.25 million market cap, float of 1.38 million shares. 8% of that is going to be sold short. And last but not least, KSS. Kohl's not a tiny small cap by any means, but $1.8 billion market cap, 25% short float. We mentioned this one earlier. This was an earnings beat, and this trend is continuing to push higher here for KSS. Nearly $17 ticker, trading at high of day. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Adara. Yeah, KSS there. We talked about Kohl's, good earnings report there yesterday. Tesla's falling down in. We just got some more out at 403. I just want to show you, like, this was the IBIT trade that we had. We actually had a big position there. We were still up on it, obviously, as we got some out, and then lost it there. So we went on all three of these, but IBIT may have found that bottom there. And it's not like there was any real reason for it to bounce there. You know, like for me, this was sort of the area that we didn't really want to hold through. And that's why we got out literally right there at that top, right? And so just kind of doesn't look like the greatest out, but like I said, this day could always be, this day could be so much bigger. It's just a lot of the levels that I was looking at just didn't hold, and there it goes. So we're still going to go 3 for 3, but was looking for maybe a little bit of a supply zone down here, or demand zone, I guess, because it would be a bid, down near 39 and change. So if IBIT does retrace back into there, all Gucci on that one. All right, so this has come right back in, but you guys can see, like, we just had a nice little up and down moment there. So we actually got some out there at 403. So now that it's coming back in, I'm going to take a little bit more at like 401, like right into here at the 200 period. But then if this loses 401, I'm gone. Like, I don't want to be in this for very long. So if Tesla winds up losing it, I thought it was a strong name. Seems like it is. It's up 1% today. But we've already seen the move happen here in Rivian to the upside, and that's starting to pull back a little bit. I know you were in Neo not for a very long time, but that's actually taking out the highs right now. Oh, yeah. So that could be a trade. Look at this supply here, Obi, at 50. A nice amount of shares there, just hovering around 50. This could be a decent short. 49, wait until 50 breaks. I mean, that's not a horrible trade idea there when you have big supply, right? But 60 million shares done on the day. All right, 402.50. I'll take a piece out here, so might as well do that as we'll just take 40 cents, but it is looking a little lower. We do want to reload this one if it did come into that level. So take some out on this move higher here. Just make sure we have that profit there, and then we'll watch out for Tesla. Look, I'm still waiting for 403.50. The thing is that that's VWAP, and that's where, you know, our best outs. We actually have a couple outs up there, so we'll see if we can get that 403.50 one more time for TSLA, and then after that, we'll wait and see if we get a high tick. If not, man, it looks like we'll take a bid and get stopped out. So that's trading for you. We're just trying to do the best we can. 403.50, an area for me right now on TSLA.
Yeah, I'm just watching this this BNTX right now. We did bid up a little bit back into 81s. I'm watching how some of this this 30-minute candle is forming. Where as of right now, it's got a bit of a flat top here, when most of the candles have had wicks on both sides. So again, I always kind of think to myself, I'm like, okay, what are the chances that this candle really closes with that flat top here, and that top on the high of this 30-minute candle, 81.31s here. There goes USO back down into 105s. We were talking about how prior day's closing price was 104s and some change, and that's about $1 away on USO. And after seeing and observing that seller dominance continue to happen underneath that 110, we hit 107s, 107 halves there as well. Multiple tests of VWAP here on USO, not really giving us any sort of a bid there. Sellers stepping in, and then now we got that low a day break. We got a retest of that low a day back up into 105s and some change. Now we're pulling back into 105. So I think, especially look at this market go back above 25K right here on the Nasdaq, and then ES pulling back up towards that 6,800 as well. So maybe sometimes, you know, you talk about the oil / market hedge. It seems like that's coming. It definitely came into effect yesterday when oil got slapped to the downside, and then the market's just ripped into the close. What's up?
This might be setting up for you. Micron.
Yeah.
It's looking like it might be a trade that you're interested in as we're fading off the top there. So here's Micron for me. Well, first of all, a couple outs there, obviously on Tesla as we get lighter and lighter as it's coming back in. Here's Micron up 6% here, Obi. I don't know if we just touched out the top there at 412, but I know this is probably something that may interest you, and if not, fine. But that would be a look there for Micron. Huge move higher there as the market looking to pull back just a bit. We're going to average in a little bit more on Tesla, but not very much, man. It doesn't look like it wants to go higher. SNDK, bad wick there. SNDK up to 610 again. Wow, that's starting to motor. I said yesterday, if you're going to go short on Micron, wait for a bump up. I still like Micron short, and I don't know, man. I got to, you know, channel my Joey options over there, because I think this is a good option play to go short and grab a put or something on Micron. I mean, if this market does fall back in, we've sort of seen what Micron's capable of. Obviously, it's capable of huge moves higher as well, but Micron right now, right back into that level that I think is a decent short opportunity, 415 to 420. We're getting closer and closer to that right now. All right, so Tesla holds, but doesn't. What? I'm at. Okay, I'm literally at 401.60. That low was 65s. Okay, well, maybe we get it. I'm not going to change my bid, whatever. If we get it, we get it. IBIT, yeah, it's too bad, womp womp on me, because IBIT makes his move all the way back right now on IBIT, right back to the 50s. So that would have been a good little level there for sure. Okay, we're almost out of Tesla. If it breaks 401, we're gone. So a little bit of a reload, not a big one. We mentioned that, and we're almost stopped out now of Tesla, and there it goes. So we hit the fail on that last little bit as it breaks through 401 to the downside, looking like it wants to go lower here. Tesla, maybe we just got stopped out at the lows like we did on IBIT, but, you know, it doesn't look very healthy there, bouncing off VWAP, making new lows again. I wanted to try that at the 200 period, so I'm completely fine with taking that, but, you know, that's why we share size appropriately. Like, we're still going to be green on Tesla, obviously, as we don't want to put on too much risk. Sometimes we get carried away. I don't know. So that's a good question there. What's up, Profit? Why you losing, I guess. Here, I'll put it up there. LOLing that Tesla. Why am I LOLing it? I don't know if you mean that. Yeah, I just don't know if it was the right trade. So we didn't go very many shares there. It looks like we might have had the wrong out, but I wanted to test it there. It was kind of that low. And when it drops it through. I'm fine making that trade. Maybe my outs need to have some work, because obviously you're right back through now. That 401, I had no idea if that was going to hold. A break there of 401 potentially, gets us a heck of a lot lower. So I'm okay that, but yeah, we'll just wait to see what winds up happening there with Tesla on that reload. Damn it. Looks like it might want to work higher there. And yeah, all of the reloads would have been fine. IBIT was huge, and we dumped out of that one as well. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. Nvidia long has been really the catalyst here for the market on the long side. 184 and change, breaking higher here. Instead of buying dip names, why don't we just buy names that are strong? And Nvidia is one of those, man, breaking through 185 and change. Where's that high take on the week, man? I think we're kind of breaking it right now. That's 104, 184.50 right now from Nvidia back to March 4th last week. So a week ago is when we were last up here. Maybe it's a fade on Nvidia, but it's really helping this market get higher here, NVDA.
Yeah, we got that push into those 104s there, Sean. So we talked about that yesterday's closing price being 104.30s, and then USO comes down and currently has a day low of 103.80s. So we did kind of break through that prior day closing price. Let's see if we can continue a little bit lower here. Don't forget, prior day's low was 98.47 on that flush eventually. So kind of watching for that as well. But that's obviously, you know, I think if you're building inventory in and around that VWAP, that was a kind of much better place to be in on this one. And then even on the reload of this, I was talking about it while it happened, that retest of that day low and then continuation back down through 105. That's a quick little scalp for about 1.5 points there on USO. That, again, in theory, it did work out well. Didn't really participate in it. What's up, Adara?
But now you're in LGVN. This is a name that I apologize was not included in the small cap recap, but it is moving quite nicely today and kind of oscillating near high of days here. Longeveron. This is a name, of course, that has rallied in the past, might be familiar to you all here. Just over $1 right now with a market cap of $21.7 million, float of 17.5 million shares, short float 7.1%, commencing a $30 million private placement as announced this morning. Right now trying to hold on to that $1 level. Let's see if it succeeds. Back to you.
Okay, thanks, Adara, for that one. I'm still looking at Nvidia, but Palantir is making a move right now as well. I feel like Nvidia just bouncing off 151. I don't know. I mean, the market's high, and Palantir's not really. I was just wondering about a little bit of a pullback potentially in Nvidia, back in at least here, like down 30. That would be about 80 cents or so for a pullback, as it seems like we're getting a little top heavy, but shorting Nvidia has never really been a secret of mine, that's for sure. I mean, I like to go long when we start to see it really start to go, which is why we missed that opportunity there. What do you guys think about Tesla reload? You know, it's giving me that bottom feels. We could break through there and then maybe take it against. I don't want to be like, I don't want to be into too many shares right now. Hello, are we working microphone?
I guess, okay, yeah, some microphone troubles there. We'll get that fixed up real quick there. 104 is back down. 104 halves was the bounce there on USO, now pulling back in. Again, market pretty strong here as well, pulling back above these opening range. Are these opening range highs? Yes, exactly, 8:30. So that lines up with 9:30 our time. So yeah, opening range highs coming in here on the ES. Let's see if they're going to come in here on the Nasdaq. Wow, there's a teleport down to 103s to the downside right there. So yeah, the market's continuing to blast up. Those hedges are on and strong both ways there. Market and oil, I guess we should definitely be keeping eyes on that CL contract as well. But talk about a beautiful break of prior day low in and around those 104.30s. We could only get back up to 104 halves there as of right now. It gives you another point. So you can see this structure. Like, again, I'm not taking this trade. I haven't taken it, but I'm kind of observing it, watching it, learning from some of this action here. Look how clean this stair step has been. The retest of that day low, the retest of 104 halves, that prior day close area, and then now another leg down. Again, still working on how and when and where I should be kind of closing these trades, but at the same time, I'm seeing that you know, some of the entry ideas are definitely worth exploring as well. But that's kind of one of the things I was talking about, like working on pyramiding into a trade that's working for me is something I do want to and am trying to get better at. But the exits are just not, you know, the exits are a whole different game as well. The exits are, you know, first you got to get good at the entries, then you got to get good at the position management, which could be, you know, some of the pyramiding, and then you got to get good at the exits as well. It's a three-part process.
Yes, yeah, if not more than three-part process. Sometimes it feels like it's a multiple part process on this one. Okay, man, like trading's not easy, that is for sure. But we're trying to do the best we can with what we have, and I'm sure you've heard that before. We're going to figure this out now. We just got a 402.25 fill right there at the 200 at the 25 period. So we did buy that break. I said that we were potentially going to buy this break. Like, is Tesla? I mean, again, asking the question for a friend over here. Is Tesla potentially seeing some of these lows again? So we take it on that break. We didn't want to average in. Sorry, we got out. I didn't want to take it until we saw some kind of Momo to the upside right there. And it looks like right now we're getting a little bit of that. So let's see if that momentum does wind up holding for Tesla. I had said this short is bugging me a little bit because I don't mind getting it, but look what this market's doing right now, high side. So I asked the question, Tesla, wagwan, because right now this stock is not. Does Elon Musk know how to speak patois at all? I asked it wagwan, but so I'm gonna get a little bit more out there at 402. Like I don't understand why this isn't ripping. Look what the market's doing right now. I want to be here for the move higher, but if it's not gonna happen, then we could find other stocks. Right there. Love you guys too in the chat. Yeah, so I'll try a 401, but honestly, man, I'm thinking right now, I'm going to start to dump this out there, Obi. You'll get out some 83s. That's me literally holding 83 right now on ARCA. Come on, ARCA, print. There it goes. So we get a little bit more out there at 83s. Look, if it moons, great. We'll try a 401, but I think Tesla might be the wrong space right here, right now for this trade. So we'll pass off on that one and wait for that 401 and see if we can get a lower bid to see about that hold, okay? Got excited there, thought the market was breaking, which it was. It just, Tesla say no to that. So right back to flat on this trade for TSLA.
Yeah, I'm just continuing to watch the strength here on Micron. Absolute strength. Kind of pointed out that it was very strong, kind of holding within the upper quartile of this price action on the day here, and then nice little curl back up. That market tailwind definitely helping out on a name like this. Let's take a look at SNDK as well. Similar stock in the space here. Yeah, look, this one's a bit of a mess here. It does do relatively something similar as Micron, but take a look at the uncleanliness of some of this move. It is a straight chop, even on the push up, and then that continuation, even though it's there, could be a little bit difficult if you're not giving it appropriate risk, which would be to those lows, especially when you see that it's so crazy choppy like the way that it is. But when you compare that to something like a Micron, look at how much cleaner that bid was. Look at how much cleaner this consolidation was. And then the breakout as well. The breakout goes to, what is that? That's at 408.60s right there. That pulls back to a low, this red candle low right here. Now we're looking at a 1 minute is 408.23. So definitely much cleaner vehicle for taking this move. And there goes the market with another leg up. So the ES breaking that opening range high. Now the Nasdaq coming in step as well, as we held that, I guess we held that 24.9 really, really well, but pushing through that 25K, which has been a bit of a level as well over the past couple of days. Right now, let's see what the sectors.
Anybody got like something to stab yourself in the face with? I mean, that IBIT trade would have been a good one there. But you could see now the market is absolutely rocking right now to the upside. And I'm sitting here watching Tesla go back and forth 20 cents. Absolutely the wrong stock right there. Let's go AMD. I see in the chat. Let's go Nvidia, man. Everything's starting to moon. Again, it looks like right now. Actually, not AMD, actually, but still up 1%. Good opportunity there. All right, let's go. Adara, what you got over there?
I have a much more mixed picture today than I did this time yesterday. This time yesterday, it was pretty much all dead red sectors. Now, there are some sectors that are majorly red today, even with, as Sean mentioned, the strength coming into the market. So we'll start with what's relatively weak. Consumer services, generally red here. Utilities, quite red. Transportation, I mean, with oil still on watch, you're going to have some weakness here in names like DoorDash. You've got UAL to the downside. So some of the travel and transport weakness does persist. Industrial service having some weak names as well. Waste management and RSG, both to the downside. Commercial services red, health services red, tech services very red. Palantir, CRM, AppLovin, ServiceNow, Adobe, Accenture. All of these SaaS plays are sharply to the downside today, though. Meta to the upside. This company, of course, acquiring Moltbot and its two founders. This was announced earlier today, first reported, then announced later and confirmed by Meta itself. Electronic technology nicely to the upside. You know that Micron move has already been discussed, SanDisk as well, but Cisco, Intel, Arista Networks all to the upside. Producer manufacturing quite green too, and retail trade generally pretty strong. So basically, if you're in any of these tech, these non-SaaS tech plays, or in the retail space, maybe a good day. Otherwise, might be struggling today. Back to you.
Ugh.
Thank you very much.
Not Thug Life, it's Ugg Life. Look at IBIT right here. Frustrating. A little frustrating, anyways, for me as we watch out for IBIT and we see what it's doing. Right now, it looks like it only wants to go one way, and it's not with me. So that sucks because we were long IBIT, and we really liked that trade. And we actually even wrote it down here on our note, of course, 39.50. You know, the low is 39.30. We did get stopped out of it, so not going to cry over spilled milk, but we are going to cry about it because that is a mistake. Not a mistake, but it's just I consider this luck. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. You know, what can't predict, like, you know, Bitcoin dropping down another couple $100 against a level that we liked. And I need to do better, you know, hands up here admitting this. We need to do better at trying to figure out, like, our max pain thresholds, right? Because we do tend to get stopped out sometimes, and then the market can reverse on us. Now, there's other examples of, you know, making the right decisions and then getting stopped out anyways. So, you know, you always have to use these. This is why I'm using moving averages. There are obviously many other cases to be used for when and when not to get out of shares. Like right here, I'm going to get out right now at 401.95, a little bit more of Tesla, just because, look, we've been nervous, man. We've been getting it out. When it comes back up to these levels again, we'll take another piece here on Tesla, get out of that one, and then hopefully not have to worry about it as we get lighter and lighter on TSLA, right? So, all right, man, that's that trade right now. That's Tesla. All right, Palantir has been a bad one today, right? That's been making moves down. Maybe we have found a bottom. Someone super chatted about 20 minutes ago and said, when bottom Palantir? You're right. So that's going to be a good bottom take there. Like, why wasn't I on that? That'd be $1 in the money there. So we'll wait to see if Tesla can be the one for us. But right now it does not appear to be the one. So we'll have to hold out hope that that eventually winds up going. Good little sector watch there by Adara. We saw some financial stocks trying to go upside there. Robinhood right now only 0.27. I've only traded 3 names today. We've already talked about IBIT. Man, I'll be at the gym wondering about my IBIT trade. And then there goes Palantir floating to the downside. That was a great long and actually even a better out to me right there. As you know what I'm saying, like sometimes your outs are good. And that one, and then Tesla, we wait for this one to get going as well. So we're green on all 3 sides of those trades, but you know, like to be greener, not as red. People commenting on Adara's jacket there, but you know that we sort of debunked that. That was good for the first. Yep. It might have been like 10. Yeah, I was gonna say like 15 or 20 days in a row there. It seems like there was a correlation. But right now, the market's starting to go a little higher here without me, as I'm just sitting on Tesla. What's up with your BNTX, man? I've been seeing you in that name for a minute.
Yeah, I'm just kind of watching it, slowly dabbling into it. Yeah, I know it's definitely well out of the money, but well within risk, I would say. Okay. Just kind of slowly watching it. But again, main watch right here is this USO as it pulls all the way down to a low of 101 and some change. So that 100 potentially incoming once again there, Sean. So yeah, that 110 was a great place to kind of risk against, but we never got up there. It was seller step right back in, and we've covered pretty much that whole range.
What's this market
from yesterday. So 98s were the day lows from yesterday. I want to know if we get that continuation. I'm definitely going to be watching this or even getting involved into that 100 level, but it seems like the trade was getting involved at VWAP, at prior day lows, maybe even those intraday lows as well at that 105s and some change. But 101s, let's see if we bounce from here. Let's see if we continue to make some lower highs here. But the market, absolute strength here.
Yeah, I hope
bit of a pullback now, so maybe this is talking about that bit of a hedge there. This could be the current high as of right now with that pullback. But this 15-minute candle just starting. We have about 14 minutes left for this 15-minute candle to print, and we'll see how this one ends off.
Sharif
we'll
and I
right
just
back
from
Madeira.
Let's go.
I just want to mention here more news coming out of the Middle East with regards to, this market, but also potentially, of course, for oil. Apparently, in a post on X, the parliamentary speaker of Iran saying that if, quote, the enemy initiates war on the infrastructure, Tehran will do the same. So again, Iran basically saying if we see our infrastructure threatened, we will retaliate. Back to you.
You're ready to retaliate. Here we go. Watch out for Tesla right here. Finally, let's go Tesla. Let's go Tesla right now. Maybe if we do some of this, then that's all good right here as the car's charging downstairs and our account's trying to charge up right now. Nice move up there for Tesla. Let's go, man. We're finished. We're a couple pennies away from the highest spot we've been at all day. So it's going to be a good trade happening there. I am like... And I know a lot of you guys in the chat are like, thank you so much, Sean, for the IBIT trade. Yeah, it is great. It's great to have everybody else make all this money, but I like to join the party at some point as well. Look, IBIT's my number one stock. Actually, IBIT's my number one stock. Palantir's hovering. Tesla's trying to get there as well. But still happy with the performance on this. And again, if you guys are looking for trade ideas, every day I'm putting this out. There's the USO short. There's the Nvidia long. There's the IBIT long there in that 39.50. And there's the NEO long at 5. We missed the NEO long by 2 cents because we were bidding 506, and NEO right now is in the 60s, I believe. Oh no, the high was 50. Sorry. Oh, that's right. We gave that 50 trade. It just didn't happen. There was some nice size there at 50, and it just right there. I think the trade is, man. Honestly, whatever. I have a lot of buying power on this account, but if you put like 30,000 shares there and short it. It's not that much money. It's only $5. If you make 2 pennies, that's $600. And you getting out is just a break of 50. I think you can get 51s or 52s. So I think it's probably well worth the risk to do something like that. But again, to each their own, man. It's definitely not like I said, any decisions is going to be up to you guys. But that's a trade here that if you're sitting on a prop floor and you do have a little bit of shares to your name, that's a trade that you could make. You could like sit there with, I said 30,000, but you could go 1,000, whatever the share size. The protection is here at 50. It's the high of the day. It's a decent level there. Now look, don't get me wrong. When we run that level and you miss it and don't punch out, that hit's going to be a little bigger than what I'm talking about. But right there, I don't know if you would have got 49s there. I don't think so. No, it looks like only 48 printing. But if you can happen to get a 49 fill, man, and just bid it out for 2 pennies, I think on a cross, you're going to get 51s. So I think it's 1-to-1 on the risk to reward on this particular trade for NIO if you can get it. So, but you have to get it. That's for sure. All right, man, 70 cents in the money on Tesla, but I'm waiting for 403s. That's my next area there for the out. And then Robinhood's hitting on the scanners a little bit there as well. As yeah, we're at VWAP. So there goes Robinhood. We actually looked at that near the low, and now it's all the way back up to VWAP. So yeah, I'm just sitting in Tesla, but I do actually believe that there is a chance that we can get going on this. It hasn't participated in this most recent move up. So if the market can just figure itself out, I like this Tesla trade. What's up, Adara?
Lots of volatility here with the US dollar, and it's interesting here. Some of this is actually correlated to these moves in energy. Now, with that in mind, I'm going to transition to a quick energy story before going back to the US dollar. EU Energy Commissioner Jorgensen making some comments right now about what was discussed during this G7 energy call, saying that they, quote, discuss certain measures with regards to oil, and adding that anything that they do, or any decision they do make, rather, with regards to oil will be, quote, temporary and targeted. So it sounds like even if we do get some kind of stockpile release, it's not going to be any type of long-term action, again, according to EU Energy Commissioner Jorgensen. Let's talk about this U.S. dollar continuing this uptrend. And I want to mention the volatility, because now that 98.7 area, we've hit it twice now on last Tuesday as well as yesterday, Monday, March 9th. Now, the volatility yesterday in energy, and I'll switch to a 30-minute chart so you guys can kind of see that decline we had at 3 p.m. Yesterday at 3 p.m. when we start getting these reports from CBS suggesting that President Trump said the war is either pretty much over or is over in Iran. Now, of course, some of these comments were clarified yesterday, saying it's not quite over yet, but it is coming to an end. Either way, this drop in the U.S. dollar did mimic that drop in energy. So if you look at these moves in energy and you happen to be any kind of Forex trader, DXY has been reacting to these larger headlines in that space. Now, I also want to discuss here the CME FedWatch tool. I know this has been pretty stagnant, like above 90% odds of rates being held, but this is significant. We're now at 99.4% chance of no rate change. We've been kind of oscillating around 97% for the last couple weeks. Now 99.4% of participants expecting no rate change, just a measly 0.6% expecting a 25 basis point cut. If you go ahead to April, here, 87% of participants expecting no rate change. June, 57% of participants expecting no change. Now, we still have in July, that's the first chance we're seeing of any possible rate cut, but even then the margin is incredibly thin. Back over to Sean and Obi.
There's, what's that club again called? Oh, yeah. Oh, you got it on your thing as well. There's the dollar club right there. Look, man, how much patience did we need for that Tesla trade? But it's an oh boy one now. It's $1.70 in the money. And, you know, we sat here and we said, why are the futures mooning? When is it Tesla's turn? Apparently it's now. So here we go, man. We're making some moves now to the upside. Our best out is 403. I'm now waiting at 403.50. See if we can get a piece out. And then we say, let's go to the high side, man. I mean, I don't see any reason why there's no stories negative about Tesla here. It was already up 1%. It's starting to go here. I don't know, but there's Tesla. We happy. All right, what's for lunch today, Obi? I mean, yesterday we had some controversy again because I gave it a 7, you gave it a 5. Adara mentioned that there was another aftertaste problem, so we're going to find out today if there was. But today's flag is one of Spanish descent. So we are definitely excited for that one. And today,
Taco Tuesday.
Come on, my guy. I feel like we could be doing better on this. Yesterday was jerk chicken, not super creative. Today is piri-piri chicken. So we just go, to me, piri-piri is supposed, I thought it was Portuguese, but right here, and it says Spanish eggplant is the Parmesan, is the vegetarian option today. So looks like we got piri-piri chicken, which, correct me if I'm wrong, I thought that was Portuguese, but showing Spanish over here. Mixed, and you guys in Spain, you let me know. Mixed green salad as well, grilled vegetables. And here's a Spanish dish. It's paella.
Okay.
Wow, man. This is, I'm starting to get excited now, boy. This is now $2 in the money, and Rip City right now up to the upside on Tesla. So there it is. Thank you so much, Darskin there. What is your name right here? Thank you so much for that compliment here on the trade for Tesla. I believe it was a good one. We did get stopped out there. We bought it back on that break right here of the 200 period moving average. Now Bob's your uncle. Shout out to my Uncle Bob. As there it goes, man. Breaking higher, 404 right now. We're on one today, man. Good trade there, and happy to be here with everybody putting these trades on. Google's breaking higher, Nvidia's breaking higher, and oh man, what a day again here today. So there it is. Okay, oh, maybe it is from Spain. Some people are saying there. Paella is Spanish. Piri piri chicken is Portuguese. There we go, okay. You know, not just a pretty face, and that wouldn't be me, of course. All right, Obi. You're still in that BNTX. Did you decide about making a trade on USO, or what levels were you looking at?
I'm looking at 100.
Okay.
I'm looking at 100. I'm looking at 98s and change, which was prior day low as well. We popped up into 103. So yeah, I'm just being patient. I'm letting this kind of happen. Sure, it's unfortunate that I didn't get involved at 105s or even 103s and change as well. But or was it? Oh no, 104s and change was prior day close. Right. So those are the two places that I kind of missed out on, and didn't expect it to just puke into 101s either. So yeah, just waiting to see if those prior day prices come in for that continuation here on the day. What's up, Adara?
On AMZN, reportedly winning a court order to block Perplexity's AI shopping bots. AMZN making new high of day again, reportedly winning a court order that would block shopping bots of the AI nature from Perplexity. Back to you.
All right, so
Blocked.
Yeah, those AI blocked.
Amazon might have been the one, man. I put out that note on my Twitter a while ago, and I pinned it, and I was talking about how I thought that they got the Amazon story wrong, you know, on this move down, and I was just very well invested into it already. We did have opportunities to buy this near $200, and I think that the next time maybe we do that. I mean, despite, you know, what's happened there, they've had drones hit some of their databases and all this kind of stuff, and they still continue to be potentially a nice long trade there for Amazon. Amazon's a stock that did absolutely nothing pretty much all of since 24, man. I mean, this is December of 24 right there, right? We're now, I mean, we just past 25, but you know, now you're about, what, 16 months away from this, so you're down. You know, the last 16 months you're down. The last time we were sort of at these levels, you got to go all the way back here. This is November of 20, and then all the way back into here. If you had bought this in July of 24, you were basically flat. This stock did nothing for 2 years, basically a year and a half, and came right back in and gave you an opportunity to buy it. So like we were sort of talking about before, there's always going to be opportunities to buy names. You just want to make sure you have your shopping list ready to go, right? The Palo Alto shopping list, the CrowdStrike shopping list, the Amazon shopping list down here. And I honestly think, and not just because we're in it, and by the way, Obi, the club we were in last time was the $1. Then we paid a fee and got into the $2. And right now, man, the bouncers are like, my guy, you've got enough cred to come into this door. We're going into the VIP right now.
Right.
Into the back.
That's the speakeasy.
Because he saw me dressed like this and said, this guy's not getting into any kind of a club. You know, and then we flashed a little something.
Couple
and
dollars.
now,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, now we go whatever club we want.
Exactly.
And we're gonna see if we get into the $3 club right now. But all jokes aside, I'm gonna put an offer right here. 404.50s, we grab that. And now we say, let go. Next offer, 405.50s. Then we are 2 minutes away from exiting the building, getting to the gym. I see Brendan's already mowing down the lunch. So I hope it's a good one over there. He does not seem to be feeling any kind of ways about that. So it should be a good one. Here goes 405. There is your club right there. $3 now in the money as we continue to go. Obi, man,
Yes,
Obi's
sir.
top boss anyways in this market. You know, when you get to that final boss,
You
are the final boss.
Absolutely not. This game goes way deeper.
It does.
Way deeper than
Fine,
that.
you're my final boss.
No, you know, people talk about footprints in the sand. There's definitely footprints in the price action suggesting players much more, I guess, you know, much more sophisticated and much more greater than I am even close to as of right now. But you know, it's a goal. Definitely, one day we will get there. But USO got to 101s, pretty much got there, and talking about getting there, the market's getting to its pre-market session highs there, right there from about 4 a.m. right here. You can see those highs coming in at 25.1s and some change here, and then 68.30s and some change on the ES, and both coming into some of those highs. So absolute strength when it comes to these futures. Who is the strongest? We were looking at Microsoft earlier. Oh, by the way, you guys were asking what am I looking at on USO? This is just an hourly chart, marked out those some of those prices right there. 98.49 is prior day's low. We're kind of giving up some of that as well. But Microsoft, let's take a quick look at this one here on a 15 minute. You can see here, this one was relatively weaker than the rest of the Mag 7. You can see even now on this aggressive bid, Softy's only gotten up to about VWAP area here, so still continuing to be relatively weak here on Softy. I guess Nvidia, we were talking about how AMD and Intel were the ones that were kind of going, and Nvidia hadn't really gone anywhere at the time, but definitely now is the one that is absolutely blasting off right now. So opening drive was a little bit stronger on some of those other tech names, but now Nvidia has probably the most relative strength here, other than maybe if you want to include Micron in this. Micron continues to be the cleaner one of the bunch when it comes to, when I say bunch, I just mean SNDK and Micron here, but going down to a shorter time frame, you can see held that upper quartile, broke out of it pretty cleanly, now just kind of traveling to the upside. I'm sure if you threw on a moving average like a 9 or even a 21, you'll see how cleanly it's been holding both of those trend indicators to the highs. 415 almost there, and yeah, your Tesla's absolutely, that Tesla's probably going for high.
Why did we go to the $3 club when we're in the $4 club? We should have just waited and took our admission into there. But that's the final boss, and he just went over time. So, you know, that's good. We like that. Joe on that side really appreciates these things. So, you know, he's adding it up and everything like that. And he's going to let us all know, you know, how much time we do owe these guys right now. But it's almost a flagship time. The midday show is ready to rock and roll. Look, man, my next offer is 405.50 right here on Tesla. So this will be 350 now. Well, it's 370 now in the money. We'll take that, Phil. And then we just go $1 higher. 06, 07, 08, 09, 10s, 11s. And we'll be back at 2 p.m. Thank you, my guy over there. There it is. We get that 405.50. That's $4. Sure.